I don't know if that video is still playing or not. It's new. I just started the new intro. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We have Star Wars today. It's a beautiful Tuesday night. Everybody's, of course, watch Acolyte, the Crapolite season 1, episode 5. I have two people here. One of them, I think, is a bona fide Star Wars expert. He's seen everything Star Wars. He's basically a Star Wars channel at this point. I'm, of course, talking about Tony from Hack the Movies. Tony, hey.
Son of a, yes. I love Star Wars. I love it so much.
Okay, so truth be told, he hasn't seen a lot of the new stuff, but it's going to be a fun conversation. I have Luke here from Galaxy Geeks. Is that what it's called?
To be on.
Yes. Is that right?
Galaxy
okay. Luke just reached out to me recently. He's got a great channel. Love his stuff he puts together, reacts to trailers. I saw you did a trailer reaction that's like 42 minutes long on the Minions. Did I see that correctly?
No, that was a movie reaction. We react to the entire movie.
The entire movie. Okay, because I was like, and I started watching, I thought, did they really do a trailer reaction that's 42 minutes long?
Guys, I might do a trailer reaction that's 42 minutes long for Despicable Me 3. You just put that idea in my head out.
That might that might be a challenge to take up.
Break down every frame of Despicable
Me. Who could do the longest trailer reaction?
We just got done reacting to Despicable Me 3, and woof. Oh, that's such a bad movie.
With the third movie, where he has his twin brother. I'm not gonna lie, Luke. I have a soft spot for animated films. I am very lenient on them. So like Despicable Me 3, not great, but I'll watch it.
Well, we watch like all the animated. Our channel is basically like huge on animated movies, and we watched all the other ones. We did all the Minion movies. We did the Despicable Me 1, 2. Then we did 3 for this week since the 4th movie is coming out. And
the 4, okay.
Yeah, it was a rough watch.
I watched the first one in college because a girl I was seeing was like, "This is a new movie." My friend said it was good, and then when it was done, I went, "Okay," and I never watched a single Minions or Despicable Me thing again. And then when I went to Universal Studios last year, they're like, "We're building a whole Minions section." And I'm like, wow.
Uncle Stan over here just upset with the Minions.
I wasn't upset. I just watched the first movie and I went, all right. I never had an urge to see the other.
Why do you hate animation and fun, Tony, and families and friends?
Cartoons are for children, as I always say.
For children. Yeah, of course. Obvious. Yes, of course. Speaking of for children, we're going to be talking about Star Wars today. A franchise starting in 1977, and it's just going as strong today as ever before. Some would say the strongest it's ever been. I know Tony, of course, self-proclaimed Disney Star Wars fan himself. Really loves
okay. Let me. I know you're fans though, but we have a new guy here, so let me just make it clear. Okay, well, my view on Star Wars, I love the original trilogy. Okay. You can't watch the good versions of those movies because George Lucas murdered them. I liked the prequels when they came out.
Of course. And
then I turned 20 and I went, oh, wow, these are actually pretty terrible. I'm no longer blinded by dancing lightsabers. I went in with low expectations to Disney stuff. I didn't go in wanting to hate it. I liked Force Awakens. Rogue One was boring as hell. Last Jedi was bad, but I like the ideas they had in it. Solo was a disaster. Rise of Skywalker was a disaster. I hate it. Mandalorian when everyone loved it, and now everyone hates it, and I feel justified. Yeah. Now here's the thing. Just to make
that's
sure
like saying the Seinfeld season 9 finale was terrible, so I was justified for hating Seinfeld for 9 seasons. Come on, give me a break. Shows get bad over time.
I was like, oh wow, this is terrible. And everyone's like, Tony, you're an idiot. And then I see Lizzo playing tennis with Baby Yoda, and I'm like, I feel like I was justified here.
Hey, Tony, you know what? It's almost like we're going to go through these movies, so maybe you don't have to just shot out of a cannon, I just want to make sure I'm not like a straight up Disney hater. I really gave him a shot, and I enjoyed some things. I will talk about the thing I enjoyed the most when we get to one of the shows. I will say a carrot. He put a carrot on the stick for us. That's what
I just want to make sure I'm not one of the fandom Menace guys. I'm not that guy. I really wanted to like new Star Wars, and I was let down, but I also didn't care.
I mean, I'm excited where we go with this because I didn't really know your taste, Tony, on Star Wars, and I really don't know Luke's taste. So the last time we did one of these kind of surprise things, I had Tony on, and we were going to talk about the DCEU. And I thought he was going to play a perfect counterpart to me, like a yin to my yang, because I don't really like the DCEU, but Tony hates it. So it was just like both of us shitting on it for an hour.
The funny thing is, I think you expected me to like it because I'm really into DC Comics. And I'm like, no, that's why I hate it so much.
Yeah, I'm like, well, Tony has
because I really love this character.
Taste, and he hates animated kids films. So he'll love Zack Snyder's
He hates everything.
Yes.
No, I don't hate everything. I like a lot of things.
Just a reminder, family that's here, super chats are the name of the game. So if you have anything you want to ask Tony, Luke, or myself, feel free to super chat or just give your thoughts on the Acolyte. Maybe you love it. Maybe you have a hot take. We'll read it off live. You get a shout out. It's a beautiful thing for everyone.
Nice.
Okay. Can we journey through the world of Star Wars?
Yes.
I'm good with that.
Let me take you back to 1977. People were wearing leather jackets and going, hey, and they're hitting, jukeboxes, and they had cigarettes on their sleeves. I know nothing about the 70s.
Wait, Adam. your picture of the 70s is a show that was set in the 50s. Okay, let's just keep going.
It was kind of the joke I was building up, but yeah. Yeah, American Graffiti and all these things. Yeah. Mobsters were everywhere with Tommy guns. Forget about it. Yeah, the 70s.
Exactly.
The roaring 70s, as they call it. Okay, A New Hope comes out. Something that is true, and I've spoken to several people about this, so anecdotally, I know it's factual across the board. I've had so many people say, Adam, they're like 85 years old. I saw the first Star Wars movie in theaters, and there was nothing ever like it, and there hasn't been anything like it again. It was a one-of-a-kind experience, and you didn't get to see it, so you suck, and you'll die unfulfilled. And I'm like, that's fair. I mean, that was fair before the Star Wars thing, but still, I appreciate your point. And I think that that's true. It really is for a lot of people. It resonated so much in the 70s when it came out. No one had seen anything even close to that. So it really was this magical one-of-a-kind experience.
Well,
go on.
There were lots of movies with spaceships and star battles and stuff. The thing is, what Star Wars and Indiana Jones did, they took those old serials and they just gave them huge special effects makeover.
Right.
So people had seen it before. It just always looked like garbage until Star Wars came around. They're like, oh shit, kind of like Jurassic Park changed dinosaur movies where they're like, oh, dinosaurs can actually look good. Holy crap.
Well, right, but there was a lore built in there with the Jedi and the Force. And
it's also the idea of the hero's journey. I mean, that was the whole reason why people resonate. Is it's a story that everyone knows that they were connected to, but they were able to see it in a new light with these space characters and mystery and everything else. But it really was going back to the hero's journey, and I think that's what really resonated with people. It's a story that everyone loves watching on screen, and they resonated.
Of course. When did you guys first see? Because I know none of us were born when it came out. When did you guys see it? Luke?
I watched it my freshman year of college.
Wow. Very late.
I did not watch the original 3 until college. I'd watched the prequels like when I was younger, like a ton, because, having the name Luke, you get the Luke, I am your father so many times. And so,
but then you would think that you would have watched that one first.
You would have thought, but I was bad back then when I was younger. I didn't like watching older movies.
Okay.
I've watched a lot of them now, but at that point, I just didn't really watch any.
Sure. And what do you like better? Do you like the OG or do you like the prequel? There's no wrong answer here, by the way. There's no judgment. I mean, there is for
Well,
me, but no one else.
I mean, it's so hard because I will say I love Revenge of the Sith, but I gotta go. Empire Strikes Back is still such a masterpiece.
Yeah,
it truly is. It's just an amazing movie, and so Revenge of the Sith is my second favorite. A New Hope I like, but I think I like Return of the Jedi a lot more than A New Hope, just because it's just a completion of the story. A New Hope I like it better than the other two prequels, but yeah, that's where I'm at on those.
I think there's a lot of people that sit in that exact same boat, especially grew up a little bit later in life.
Yeah, real quick, Luke. How old are you?
30.
Okay, yeah. All right. So you didn't see him in college. Okay. For a minute, I thought you were like way younger. I'm like, did you see the real version? Did you see the real versions of Star Wars, or all the crap with George Lucas at it?
I've seen a little bit of both. I've seen scenes from the original because I had to go and look it up because you can't find them. I mean, he went and burned them all.
Well, I mean, you can find them, but yeah.
And then I did watch the Christmas special.
God, that's a great one.
I didn't watch the Christmas special until like 3 years ago, and it was maybe the worst day of my life. What a disaster that movie is. Holy crap. I mean, to be fair, it was like a TV special. It was never supposed to be taken as anything more than a like Star Wars on Ice sort of event.
Yeah. God, reading the backstory of like what went on there, they're like, that was like the worst production ever. They actually built the Wookiee house in like a 360 set, and they're like, there were no room for the equipment. Why did they build it like this?
Well, how they brought in Leia. They basically, you're gonna get to sing a song. That's the only way they got her to do it.
Hamill's in rehab. They quickly like dolled him up literally
like,
for the role. He had,
it looked like it was like right after his car accident.
So bad.
Yeah, so weird.
I guess I saw Star Wars when I was like real young, like maybe like 4 or 5. It was like a course of like 3 weekends. I would go to like my grandfather's in Maryland, and we would rent the Star Wars movies. And this is before the special editions came out, which I was excited for the special editions. I got to see the first 2 in theaters.
Yeah, because they came out a couple years before the prequels, right?
Yeah, the prequels are being made. 1997 they came out to kind of cash in on the 20th anniversary. And at the time it's like, wow, there's a lot of cool stuff in this. It's like, but those things are stupid. I hope those aren't permanent. Little did we know they would only get worse as the years went by.
My buddy Chris was like a huge Star Wars nerd, so I remember seeing him in theaters, and I kept asking him like, "Is that new? Did they add that? Did they add that like extra tauntaun back there?" He's like, "No, shut up." They added this shitty CG dude screaming. But
yeah, needless to say, I loved. I mean, the '90s was like a weird, like a cool era of Star Wars because we knew that new ones were on the way.
Yeah.
There were people like me watching it for the first time. So then there was all this new merch. The video games were like exploding in the 90s. Yeah. So even if you never awesome. Yeah, if you never even watched the movies, you experienced Star Wars in some way. And like the coolest example was Shadows of the Empire. They made a whole merchandise line for a movie that didn't exist. They had the tie-in game, the comic, the book, the toys. They're like, wow, we don't even need to make a movie. We can sell shit. I'm like, that's amazing.
This is what it's all about, people. We don't even need the movie anymore. This is what we trained you for.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm not much different than you. Well, I am different than you, Tony. I saw the originals when I was at home. It wasn't like a glorious thing. I think they were just like on TV or something. And I would kind of cherry pick bits and pieces as they were on. I remember watching one of them when I had a splinter. And they put my foot in just like hot water. They boiled water because apparently that like helps get the splinter out of your foot. And I remember that because Luke was like talking to the robots. Like, this is cool. Ow, my foot. Is that the ice cream truck outside? I have ADD. I remember that like it was 30 some years ago. Yeah, so not like a magical journey for me, but I remember really liking these films and thinking they were the coolest things ever. That dudes had swords that were made of light and somehow cut you in half. That was awesome.
They were amazing.
I remember going to Disney and going on Star Tours. You know, remember when that ride was good before they ruined it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't go on the new Star Tours. I went on like 3 times and I got freaking Jar Jar Binks and Naboo all 3 times. all
Really?
3 times. Like I had to like beg them, like, is there a version without Naboo? And they're like, it's random. I'm like, I keep getting Naboo. Is there a version without Naboo?
How is it fucking random if I'm in the prequels every time?
My girlfriend at the time looked over me the second time we saw Jar Jar hit the screen, and I'm just like, oh my god. I'm like, this used to be a ride I loved. Why did they ruin it?
Jar Jar.
Hey, it's all sequels now.
Ugh.
Well,
the little robot.
I mean, that seamlessly took us to 78, where we had the Star Wars special. I did not see the holiday special when it aired in 78 because I wasn't born. So that was something new for other people.
Don't worry, George didn't either.
I've honestly probably seen the Star Wars special like 15 times.
That's amazing.
I used to watch it as a joke, and then I had to watch it for a couple reviews, like the one we did on Cinemaskers. So I've seen the Star Wars special a lot.
Oh.
Who can we get for this thing? Shit. We got the main cast, but we need someone else to draw in a younger audience. Well, we have one of the Golden Girls. Would she do? Yes, get B. Arthur over here. Stat.
She has the best segment.
No, it's like, get Betty White here now. Yeah, we don't got Betty. We have B. Arthur.
I love. We can get Harvey Korman. Who else can we get? We can dress Harvey Korman up in 3 different costumes and say it's a different person.
It's really the Harvey Korman show at the end.
Really,
don't forget about
Harvey Korman. And wait.
Don't forget about the 10 minutes of Wookiees just talking back and forth with no subtitles.
I think at some point they were like, all right, we got to have a character. Like, that's when Art Carney shows up. They're like, we need a character who can talk because we shot 10 minutes of Wookiees yelling at each other.
It's really like a Perfect Strangers episode where these Wookiees are all just kind of like joshing around and you don't know what the hell's going on.
Not subtitled either. That's my favorite part. They're not subtitled.
So bad. All right, well, we can move past that. Then we get to the real meat of it. The Empire Strikes Back, 1980. The OG trilogy, all 3 movies were every 3 years. And then that was the same with the prequels, every 3 years. Yeah. And then the newest trilogy, only 2 years in between those ones.
We'll
figure it out in post, said Disney. We'll get the story wrapped up in post. Yeah.
Now 6 years later, and we'll still won't have a movie.
What if Rey was a Palpatine? Hear me out. She becomes a Skywalker because that's how she identifies. It's
God, that was out of desperation. Yeah. The damage control on that third movie was so funny.
Yeah.
I love Empire. Empire is my favorite. That's the easy one to pick. But it really takes the sequel in a different direction than you would think. Because normally you'd be like, oh, they blow up another big ball. Spoiler, they do that a couple more times, but they didn't do it for the first sequel. And
instead, the heroes get their asses kicked for most of the film, and it ends with one of them losing a hand. It's perfect.
Luke learns a lesson. Like Yoda told him, like, you're not ready. You have to be like, you got to get rid of the selfish things. And he learns the hard way that Yoda was right.
Yeah.
How dark is it thinking about someone getting their hand cut off back then? I mean, you wouldn't have really saw that. That's pretty dark for a movie, especially for a kid's movie.
Well, I mean, we were watching RoboCop, so you see a guy get
our family,
like 500 times.
The families we had, that was normal. Now the 80s got weird with like I have a review of like Neverending Story coming up, and the 80s did get weird with children's stuff where they added a lot of dark elements, like scary things that you wouldn't expect.
Is I don't know what Bastion. What's the name of the main kid? Is it Bastion?
Bastion.
Help! Bastion loses a horse, if I remember right.
No, that's Atreyu.
Oh, Atreyu.
By the way, if you watch the horse scene as an adult, it's like not sad. Like it's the saddest thing ever when you're a kid. But you find you don't even know the horse's name until 2 seconds before it dies and has no importance.
As a kid, I was like, "Oh, good, he got rid of that damn horse." It was slowing him down. Where's the flying dog at? My God, yeah. Empire is fantastic. It's in most people's top 10 movies of all time, still to date, because it was so much darker. It took the characters in such a meaningful direction. It didn't seem as like fun and sci-fi campy as the last one did, which that was the point. But this one had some real meat on the bone, some stake to it. And
better directing.
Yeah, because it was not
I wonder why.
Lucas. Yeah.
George Lucas really knew when to step back and let other people take it. Because like I love the first one. That movie was saved in editing, as most people. I don't know if you ever seen like the original opening. Like Luke had like 10 scenes before he actually shows up in the movie. They're all pretty terrible. They ruin the pacing of the film. So the second one's a lot.
Smoking a joint on Tatooine. I'm so
he's literally
fucking Star Wars.
He's literally watching the Star battle in the beginning. Han Solo has a girlfriend in the original cut. Did you guys know that?
Oh, really?
Okay, so his very first shot where he leans in to start talking to them, off camera is his girlfriend character. He had a whole scene with her, and after the conversation, he's like, "I'll be back in like a few weeks." Obviously, the character never came back, so it's weird to watch just knowing that there's a girl off camera that you never see.
They James Gunn kind of used that same thing for Guardians of the Galaxy, because remember he has that alien chick in his cockpit when he leaves that planet.
Oh yeah,
he just slept with her and he hit it and quit it, kind of a thing. Yeah, great movie. There's not much else we have to say about it. Then you have Return of the Jedi. Now, some people really do not like this movie. I think it's fine. It's a fine, serviceable end. It is lame that they do the whole Death Star again, but I think the first half of this movie is really damn good. Everything at Jabba's palace and all that stuff, fantastic. And then it kind of does turn into A New Hope 2.0. And
I will say the Emperor coming in and the palace scene, I think works really well.
The Emperor was great, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, because that's the first time you really saw him fully.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really great when they do that, when they do a kind of a major shakeup in the third movie. I know Tony, of course, loves Halloween Ends, the third of the David Green trilogy, because they kind of shook things up. They had to.
I know. Like, here's.
I actually don't mind that movie. I like that movie. I'll go out there.
I don't at all.
The one guy, like, I have issues with that movie, but my issue is like they should have really committed to the copycat thing if they were going to go for it. My issue is that they don't fully commit, and at the end they throw away the whole movie. They're like, and now Michael Myers is going to fight a lady in a kitchen. It's like, well, what was the point? What was the point of the rest of the movie?
Yeah, I agree. I think that was the problem. Like the fans love, the fans love Michael Myers so much that the director is like, I want the shape to be the villain, not Michael Myers, but he knew he could not go that way, or people would be pissed if you didn't have that Myers showdown.
Just pick one and stick with it. When they try to do both, my issue with Return is Han Solo, and that's kind of on Harrison Ford for being real shady about if he was going to come back or not. So they kind of had to be like, they're like, shit, we wrote this whole. That's why they froze him at the end of 2, because they're like, he doesn't want to do it. We don't know if we can bring him back. So that's why like the space battle's awesome. Luke and Vader's storyline is awesome, and they were like, shit, what are we gonna do with Han Solo? They're like, I don't know. He thinks he's in a love triangle, but he doesn't know that it's not a love triangle, and he hangs out with some teddy bears, I guess.
Terry's been working on something over here. Terry, what do you got for us? He's been doing this for like 6 months. What the hell is this? A bunch of furry animals living in tree houses? What?
A lot of my issues with the prequels start in Return of the Jedi.
Yes, I agree.
The characters sitting down and doing exposition dumps, that becomes a big thing in the prequels.
Sometimes they walk in place with a CG background.
And then there's the toyification. The Ewoks were just to sell toys. And what's the other one? Oh, pointless family shit. Like the reveal with Vader being the father was like huge. And then they're like, Leia's also his sister. And you're like, what? And then by the time you get to Clone Wars and it's like Boba Fett's dad is also Boba Fett. It's like, all right, I'm done. I'm done with the family shit. Let's get this out of here.
Yeah, that's the thing I always had issues with when it came to comic book series. At some point or another, every friend or relative is going to end up being a villain or a superhero, compadre of some kind. It's like, can we like branch out a little bit? Not everyone has to be related.
Yeah.
You want to see the worst show that did that? Go watch it Once Upon a Time. Everybody's related on that show.
Yeah. You know what? I did watch, I think, a season of that. Because that's got the woman from House, I think. The blonde is the main character from House. Yeah, anyway, we thought it was all right, but very schlocky. A little too corny for us.
It's one of those you kind of... It's one of those you just watch week to week. It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it, but once again, every single person in that show is related in some way. Someone's this person's dad, this person's mom over here. A stepmom is a grandmother that's married to another It's wild.
There's another show doing that right now. It's called the Acolyte. Every character in that show is something or another. Okay, after Return of the Jedi, we seamlessly and flawlessly transition to 1984's Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventure.
I have not watched this one.
That's a shame.
So I did a What is the Worst Star Wars episode a few years back, and I remember like I included those two movies because there's two of them. But the first one, upon rewatching it, I mean, yeah, it's not great, but for a made-for-TV movie, it's like not terrible.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it was a made-for-TV movie, although it did go to theaters in different places.
Really?
Like not in America, but in different countries, it did get theatrical releases.
Which one had the witch in it?
Okay, that's the second one. That's the one that's really bad.
That's the Acolyte. The Acolyte has the witches as well. Tony didn't get to that. The witches show up in episode 3.
Wait, what?
Spoiler. Yeah, there's witches in the Acolyte. There's a whole...
Well, there's been witches in Star Wars for a while.
Yeah.
But I guess these are different witches. I'm not familiar with these new witches. Yeah.
No, we don't either. We don't know them.
Yeah.
No one does.
Because they're not the other ones from Clone Wars and the other shows, right? They're like whole
they're not
witches.
the
Night Sisters or something.
Yeah, the Night Sisters. Yeah,
they're
not that.
I watched Caravan of Courage and Ewoks. I believe we rented them from a Blockbuster on VHS back in the Diz, just slang for back in the day somewhere. And we had a good time with them. You know, we were young, I think. What year was this? 85 Ewoks came out. Yeah, I was 3 years old. I was probably 5 when I watched them. So everything's good when you're 5, pretty much.
The second one makes the Ewoks talk.
Oh,
like they live
English?
with that.
Oh no.
Yeah, they live with the girl for a few years, so they like learn.
Hello,
English.
governor.
But then I read somewhere that there may be prequels to Return of the Jedi. I'm like, why aren't they talking?
Wait, what?
Yeah, there was another list that has the chronological order of these, but I didn't care to go through that.
The stupid who's the pig guy in Mandalorian season 1?
The pig?
Yeah, there's like a pig-looking guy.
The
Nick Nolte plays.
I have spoken guy.
Yeah, I think the thing that he rides is a monster from the Ewoks.
Yes,
movies.
it is.
Yeah. They like reuse that.
I actually like that idea.
Yeah.
I don't even know what this is. Maybe you guys can refresh my short from memory. Droids 1985.
Okay, there were 2 animated series. Droids was
okay.
one of them, and it was like C-3PO and R2-D2's adventures before they met Luke. And then the other one, of course, was an Ewoks cartoon.
Of course,
yes. I didn't see that.
I caught a few episodes. I wonder if they're on Disney Plus. It actually would be fun to like go through those, but I caught a few episodes years ago.
Dude, have you guys... What is going on with Disney Plus? It is the Wild West there now. They have all the Saw movies. They have there's R-rated shit everywhere.
Because they own Hulu.
I know. So you don't go into a Disney theme park and they have like Saw characters.
It was weird.
Hulu?
Yes.
Do you have Hulu? All right, that's why, because I don't have Hulu, so I'm not getting all those on Disney Plus.
Okay.
But if you have Hulu, it's a section added to Disney Plus.
It's a booster pack. Okay.
Okay, because I did think it was weird seeing the first Omen like above Cinderella. And I'm like, well, one of them has a jackal demon coming out of a woman's vag. I don't know if I would put that movie right next to Cinderella.
I mean, I'm still going to... Regardless, it's still bizarre to have it on Disney Plus. Like, you got Hulu. Typically, people that have Disney Plus, not everyone, but most, have kids. And so I didn't see any parental restrictions.
There has to be.
There is. There's
no, I'm sure there
built into it.
I'm sure there is, but there was nothing like ahead of time that said, hey, heads up, we're adding a bunch of R-rated stuff.
They
my
should
kids
have
are
done
older.
that.
Yeah, my kids are older, so I don't care. But
sure.
I'm just thinking of like the little kid that's watching Frozen, and then it goes to like the R-rated Frozen movie where the people die up in the ski lift.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
that movie is hard to watch. That movie is like intense.
Since you liked this Frozen, let's recommend this one. A couple gets stranded at the top of a ski lift where they're killed by wolves down below. Mom, this wolf won't let it go.
The girl at my show, Casey, she used to be the assistant for that director when she lived out in LA.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Adam Green.
Oh, it's great, Tony. Thanks for that little tidbit. Anyway,
if any of my fans are watching, that's a fun detail.
Little shout out for the Hack the Movies fans out there. Ewoks, The Battle for Endor, 1985. That's going to round out our trifecta of Ewok really celebration.
Yeah, that's the talking Ewoks one.
That's
that
the
one's
talking
bad.
one.
That one's bad.
That's their final ride. Interesting.
Luke, I want you to watch both those movies and report back to me.
I plan to. I plan to watch. I watch everything Star Wars. I need to watch those one day, maybe.
Yeah.
Gearing up for a 3-hour reaction video. Go through the Ewoks.
I will, mate. Maybe if I did it, I would do a reaction. That's the only way I would.
You have to. Yeah, you have to.
Make money.
Got to monetize those views.
Yeah, exactly.
Star Wars Special Editions started in '97. We talked about them briefly. That was a cool time. It was the Star Wars resurgence. Fans all across the board seemed extremely pumped about it. There wasn't this vitriol that we have today where half the fan base is pissed, the other fan base is pissed at the people that are pissed, and no one's happy, really.
No.
Which is,
no.
I mean, that's the internet in a nutshell.
People were bitching at Han shot first and the dance number in Return of the Jedi.
But those were like fun, nerdy debates, you know.
Yeah.
No one was.
It's also
no one was
Star Wars wasn't
canceling or
mainstream.
no one was doxing people over it.
Yeah, no one was like, you like Han shooting first? I'm gonna call your boss.
I'm gonna release some text messages between you and some random person and cancel.
Here's a picture of your house since you like the pop song, The Return of the Jedi.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god, yeah, that's where we're at now. There, that was kind of like the whole Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. That was the fun debate that used to be had for many years. And yeah, you're a winner either side you're on, or a loser depending on who you talk to.
Lord of the Rings versus Star Wars?
Yeah.
Well, Star Wars has definitely gotten worse than Lord of the Rings. Although Lord of the Rings is now catching up with their boring TV show.
Yeah.
I mean, Rings of Power.
Yeah, Rings of Power
that's bad. That's bad, but
it's bad, but it's not like insultingly bad. It's just like no one.
Apparently,
people are watching it. I don't know who.
The two Hobbit prequels were okay, just too long. The third one was the only.
I like all three of them, Tony. I like all three of them.
No, that third one's garbage.
No, they're all fan. They're all good.
No, that's garbage.
They're all good. Legolas runs up cobblestones as they're falling. That I will watch that shit all day.
Legolas should have had a cameo. We didn't need more Legolas. We had 9 hours of Legolas already.
Well, that was legitimately the dumbest thing you've ever said in your life. Less Legolas.
In The Hobbit? No, we did not need it in The Hobbit.
Not only do we need it in The Hobbit, we needed a spin-off Legolas John Wick-esque film where he's just traversing Middle Earth, taking dudes out.
Don't say that. They might do it.
I hope they do.
I love that movie.
I want a Legolas Gimli road trip adventure where they're taking guys out, counting their kills.
They're just inexplicably in a car. It's never displayed.
I mean, we are getting a movie with Gandalf and Aragorn looking for
that's right.
Smeagol, yeah.
Yes.
Oh God, I heard about that.
Because the Gollum video game did so well, we got to do more Smeagol stuff.
Dude, is it weird they only just started advertising the animated movie?
Yeah.
And they just showed stills. They didn't actually show a trailer.
It's November. I think you got it. Normally your first trailer is 6 months out, so we're probably going to get it in next, month, most likely for that trailer.
Hopefully.
I'm doing my fandom of the Gimli X Legolas film, and they go to the Shire. And Vin Diesel comes out. He's like, perhaps I could be of some assistance. And then the death car comes out. Oh my God, it would be so sweet. So let's do it. Let's take a quick break and get some of these super chats out of the way before it gets overwhelming. And I appreciate it. Perm shot out of a cannon with the $10 super chat. Sup, Adam. Short for what's up, Adam. Thank you, Perm. I appreciate that. Why did the angry Jedi cross the road? To get to the dark side.
Ban him right now. Ban
Absolutely not. I celebrate puns. I celebrate jokes of all types. Tony Morrow will massacre Hollywood for $1.99. Phantom Menace is my third favorite Star Wars film. No cap. He said no joke, but I changed it to no cap for the kids.
And he went like this when he typed it.
Well, that's a little bit more dated than no cap, but either way, we're out of date. Thank you, Tony. That's sad, but that's fine. That's your opinion. It's a thing. The Blind Cinephile for $10, a beautiful super chat. Finally watched Return of the King last week.
Oh, wow.
We're on Star Wars today, but I will always take Lord of the Rings commentary. Officially finishing my first time watching the movies. Wow. Amazing ending. Sam made me tear up when he lifts Frodo up to finish their journey. Real hero. Hashtag real hero.
The Blind Cinephile, you did not specify which version you watched, so please leave a $20 super chat and let us know what version of the film you watched, the extended or regular.
If it's not extended, you might as well just not.
That is of the three of them, that is the one that you actually need to watch the extended version, because like the second villain, the second most important villain, just leaves off screen.
Yes, it was Sauron.
Yeah,
he's just killed off screen. It's crazy.
Not even killed. They're just like, he's on a tower. He's in a tower. He'll be fine. It's like, look, I know you're not doing his storyline from the book, but you got to give him an exit from the movie because it's weird.
It's a big threat in the first film.
It really is. Like, if Return of the Jedi, they're like, yes, Darth Vader is healing in his ship, and then you just never see him, and it's just
they could have at least done the Simpsons thing with what is it, Poochie, where he just frames out. He's like, Poochie died going to his home planet.
The funny thing is, because they find the orb in the water, it's like, how did it get down there? That was in his room. Did he throw it out the window?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I will say and I like the mouth of Sauron. That was a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm sorry, Saruman. I think I said Saruman is the white wizard. Sauron is the eye. I love that they named them Saruman and Sauron. Yeah. Really ingenious, freaking nerds. Okay, Michael for $4.99. Where do you rank? And which do you think is the worst in current pop culture franchises? Star Wars, Star Trek, DC, Marvel, and HP, short for Harry Potter. Michael, it's a powerful question. I would say, I just, oh God, fuck. Potter has those Fantastic Beasts movies.
Yeah.
He didn't say Wizarding World, so I'm just saying Harry Potter because we're not even counting Fantastic Beasts. He did not specify the Wizarding World.
I think including it makes this more interesting.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, yeah, he said current, so I guess you have to include it. So
the other tricky part is I know Max, the artist formerly known as HBO Max, is going to be doing a Harry Potter remake series. And it can only go down as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so I'm thinking Star Wars is a shit show. Star Trek had 2 good movies.
I like the third one still.
That's what I mean. I like the third one. I hated the second one.
Star Trek also has the shows on Peacock with Beyond and all that. Well,
that's what I'm talking about. The shows are pretty terrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
The MCU is probably the strongest until recently. The MCU, it had a rough start, but then it was really good for a few years. Recently.
I think it's almost unfair to do like the whole encompassing thing. You really have to just limit it to the movies because Star Trek has been around so long, has had so many TV shows.
Yeah.
And Star Wars now.
I'm thinking like in the last 20 years. I'm just going with that.
It may be more like modern, since it's same for current pop. If I had to pick, I would go Marvel, Harry Potter, DC, which I think DC might move up on that list as time goes on because I'm really excited for Superman. Star Trek, and then Star Wars. Because at least with Star Trek, they're kind of not connecting anything on purpose. And so they're kind of doing their own thing. Star Wars seems to have no plan. They're having all these random shows with no purpose.
So you went best to worst, just to clarify.
Yeah, best to worst. Okay. Marvel, I think, can come back. I really do, especially with Deadpool. I really do hope that Marvel can come back. But Harry Potter, even the Fantastic Beasts are not great, but you had the video game that was incredible.
Fantastic.
It really bumps it back up. Yeah. It's so good. And so with DC, the DCEU ended with a fart. And so I got to put that one in the middle. But I really do hope that DC can come back. Because also, I like the Batman. I don't love the Batman, but I like it enough where it moves it up a little bit. Yeah. But yeah,
that's why I say fine, incredibly overrated.
Outside of the DCEU, they've got some good stuff outside of those films. And I like some of those films, not the Zack Snyder ones, but some of those films are okay. I've
Wonder
never
Woman.
cared about Harry Potter, so that'll always be the bottom for
Wow.
me.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Adam. I just
I'm
don't.
not a huge Harry Potter fan either, but I'm just kind of basing off of just where it is in the fandoms, not more than less.
I guess
than
it's the
anything
most
else.
consistent. I mean, other than the Fantastic Beasts, which I like the first movie. I can't remember a goddamn thing about it, but I was like, well, there's not as many kids in this one, so
Yeah.
that's fun.
They're
But-
watchable. I mean, they're not good movies, but they're watchable, and
Mhm.
that's better than I would say some of these other movie franchises.
Yeah. So what was your order there, Tony? Harry Potter last.
Well, yeah, I guess I'll go if I'm thinking like recently within the last decade, I say. Marvel's probably at the top. I only really like the two. I guess Star Wars and Star Trek is even for me because I only like 2-ish movies and I hate all the TV shows. You know, DC, because like I said, outside of the DCEU, there's some good stuff like the Batman and some of the TV shows I enjoyed. Yeah, and then Harry Potter at the bottom.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Harry Potter, I would put at the top, but I really don't know what they're going to do with that series at all. They do have the new, if we talk theme parks, they have the new one going to Epic Universe in 2025, the Ministry of Magic. So that's going to be awesome.
They're making it bigger?
Series.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure. It's hard to say whether that's going to be good or completely crap. But yeah, I would say Marvel, I'm gonna say DC is the best right now because in James Gunn I trust, and I the standalone stuff like Tony mentioned is fine. It's good. The Batman, Joker, they're all solid. The Penguin show will probably be serviceable and watchable. I won't watch it, but it'll probably be fine. Don't care enough to watch that crap. Then Marvel, they're striking out right now, but they can turn things around. So I'd put that next. Star Wars, I'm gonna put Harry Potter in the middle. Star Trek, I just really don't care about. I only liked Generations with Patrick Stewart. Never really was an OG Star Trek guy.
I love OG.
Yeah, I know. I don't knock it. I just didn't grow up on it. It's hard to go back and watch that now. And then
oh no, that's why it's fun because they're really good stories, but they look like shit. So I'm enjoying it on 2 different levels, and I'm loving it. No, those are when they look good. I'm talking about the old TV show. I'm like, wow, this is a really good story, but that's a poodle with a frill on its head, and it wants me to think it's an alien.
I mean, you want to talk about hit it and quit it? Kirk, he got a lot of alien ass, and he never thought about it again afterwards.
He's a good-looking guy.
All right, we finished everything we needed to on this planet. Let's get out of here, sir. We barely have touched the surface of what's going on this planet. Nope, we got to go now. The alien woman runs out in a robe.
You gotta watch the episode where they go to the Italian planet. Apparently, people broke Prime Directive and they went on a planet and left a book about like gangsters from the 20s. So the whole planet made their entire culture about gangsters in the 20s, and they're all just Italian gangsters.
That's amazing.
We got a piece of the action, and Kirk's like, "Whoa,
mamma mia! Other things, lasagna,
lasagna, pizza."
This is right? This is appropriate, right? Yeah, we're fine. There's no problem.
As an Italian, I approve of this.
This will always hold up. Every generation will approve of this. Yeah. And then, so I guess Star Trek last just because I don't care. And it sounds like it's not great anyways. So no one's happy. And I hear Doctor Who is also incredibly well received these days. I've never watched Doctor Who, but I know people are very happy with that show.
I used to be.
Yeah.
I used to love that show.
I never cared for that show at all.
Thank you, Michael.
Any way, shape, or form.
Tony's back. $1.99. Spaceballs counts as a Star Wars movie. It does. It does not. It's a parody film. I love it, but it's not a Star Wars
And they're
movie.
about to ruin it, like Star Wars.
Yeah.
The quest for more money.
I don't know. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt anything. Just do it.
I was excited when they said they were doing History of the World Part 2 finally. And I'm like, Mel Brooks, but then like he didn't really direct it. And then I saw Kumail Nanjiani and Josh Gad in the preview, and I went, no thanks, I'm good.
Oh, it was bad.
So when Spaceballs 2 got announced, I'm like, nah, I'm out.
I'm okay with Spaceballs 2 because I want a resurgence of dry, witty humor again, masked inside of slapstick comedy, which is what those old films were, and they don't make them anymore.
Yeah, you know what you are getting? A new Naked Gun, but with Liam Neeson.
I know.
Leslie Nielsen role.
They've been talking about this for like a million years. It's going to be John Hamm. Is it still going to be John Hamm?
No,
I'm sorry,
Liam Neeson.
It was John Hamm, and then they had Liam Neeson now, but.
I think that would work because Leslie Nielsen was a serious actor before those parodies, so it could
Leslie
work.
Nielsen, Liam Neeson is funny when he needs to be. He's very dry. He could definitely pull it off. We'll see if it actually happens though, because again, John Hamm at one point was supposed to be tied to it, and they've gone through so many revisions of that.
Oh wow.
And I just wonder why, like let the damn thing die with Leslie Nielsen. He was perfect. Yeah. Just make a new parody show based around a cop. Why does it have to be? Because they want that extra bump from the name. Because there's going to be these guys like us that'll be like, okay, I want to see a new Naked Gun movie.
Oh yeah, they did do a Naked Gun style show a few years back.
That was first.
Huh? No. I mean, recently there was a sitcom with one of the girls from Parks and Rec in The Office. And it was kind of like the Naked Gun. It was like a parody sort of thing, but it didn't have the name Naked Gun, so I guess no one watched it really, and it got canceled.
Whiskey Tango show?
Something like that. Keep reading super chats. I'll look it up.
Okay. Yeah. Was that with the chick that left Parks and Rec before it was done? Pam? Not Pam.
No.
Oh my God. What's her name? Ann Perkins.
Yeah, I think so.
Ann Perkins. Okay. Anyway,
I remember that show. It was on TNT. I thought it was
like Whiskey Tango or something.
But it was like the Naked Gun. It was like all wacky.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Psycho Jet Black for $2. Better character, Jar Jar Binks or Rose Tico? Rose Tico!
Jar Jar Binks, outside of the movies, they put him in like cartoons and stuff. So he's had a little bit more room for his character to grow. Whereas Rose Tico had one movie, and then the second movie they shoved her in the background with a CGI corpse of Princess Leia.
She's like, and you have my blaster, and that's her only thing.
I don't like either, but Jar Jar had a little bit more room to grow.
I have some love for Jar Jar. I grew up with the movie, so I have some love for Jar Jar, but I gotta go Jar Jar is a better character because they knew what he was. He was meant for kids. They don't know what Rose was there for. Rose was a character they added with no plan.
It's funny because it does feel like, and I don't know if there's been interviews about it or not, but it feels like George Lucas listened after that first movie and he really pared down what Jar Jar was going to do in the next two movies because but maybe that's was the plan. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Either way, they did the same thing with Rose.
No, he course corrected. But with Rose, I just think J.J. Abrams came back and he's like, I don't care about this character. I didn't come up with him, but I'll get in trouble if I kick her out of the franchise. Right. So you go with the corpse over there now.
I'll easily take Rose over Jar Jar. Jar Jar is just an obnoxious, annoying pile of crap. Rose Tico is a fine character who had horrible dialogue and was put in a terrible movie, but her character is just like whatever. She could have been fine. There's no situation where Jar Jar doesn't annoy the shit out of me, I guess is what I'm saying. The character is he has honestly, no value.
Rose to me could have been an interesting character like a what was his name in Return of the Jedi. Good character. Man.
Jabba the Hutt.
No.
The alien next to the alien next to Jabba the Hutt that goes
No, he shows up in
Bib Fortuna, Jabba the Hutt's doorman with the weird tentacle.
Yeah. Oh man, why am I struggling with this one? He's part of the main crew, basically.
Lando?
Is he
Lando.
Black? Is he black? I know you were dancing around it so much. Like, how can I identify him without saying the most obvious thing that would give
He was the only black guy in that movie with a name. It would have narrowed it down pretty. No one's gonna be like, oh, that crewman who walked behind Luke in that one scene. Is that who you were talking about?
He kind of had a dapper outfit on and had a swagger about him.
It's kind of fucked at the end of Empire Strikes Back. He's dressed exactly like Han Solo. It's like, man, he's been frozen for 5 seconds and you're raiding his wardrobe.
Fun little side story. When I lived in Minnesota, I went to a bike shop. I don't know, it was a bigger one, but anyway, it was a 2-story bike shop. And the guy's like, okay, who helped you with your bike today? So I can give him whatever commission. And it was a black guy, and it was it's Minnesota. There's not that many. It's like a unicorn unless you're in the cities. And so I'm like, I don't remember his name. Okay, well, what did he look like? Like a taller guy, short name, like a Kip
the
or a
scene in
Ned, like a
Superbad.
Seinfeld. Yeah. Like, and eventually I'm just like, he was the black gentleman. Oh, okay. And then my wife Lindsay's like, Adam. I'm like, well, why? If it was all black workers, there was one white guy. I'd be like, it was the white dumbass upstairs. Yeah. Like, what do you want me to do here? In Guess Who, it's the easiest way to eliminate characters.
Real quick, now that I know you're offensive. No, I'm kidding.
Yes,
the show was called Angie Tribeca, and
Oh,
my cat's doing that thing where she pretends she doesn't know how to open a cracked door, and she won't
Okay.
stop screaming. So I'm going to take care of that for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Good. I'll let Luke finish his thought anyways, because I totally derailed him. So you were saying Rose Tico could be a good character if she was like Lando?
Yeah, if they just made her interesting. Like, it was kind of the same idea where you bring in a character in the second movie, have an interesting story arc, and made her interesting, but they really didn't. They were just like, we're just gonna have her.
Well, the funny thing is, they had Rian Johnson actually had written a very compelling arc for her, and then he did nothing with it. Remember, he killed her sister off right away, and she was probably the best new character they introduced, the bomber woman that like last second saves the day and destroys the dreadnought. I was like, wow, that I would have actually liked to see this character continue on, but here's Rose, and all that story is yeah, I lost someone too, but you know what? I love you, Finn. I'm obsessed with you. No, don't do that with her. She was good with the sister.
Her story arc was to explain to Finn that child slave labor is wrong. I'm like, he was a child slave.
That's true.
He already knows this lesson. Why?
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the Last Jedi eventually, and that will be.
That was his. He should be like, yeah, I know, Rose.
Okay. Oh my God, there's a lot of these. Ryan Powell, $5. Thank you, Ryan. What date would y'all put as the death of Star Wars on its tombstone? When did Episode 1 come out again?
Yeah. As soon as Qui-Gon said that the Force was bacteria, it was done. Yeah. That's why I don't get as worked up as some people, where I'm like, well, yeah, no, that was it. That was technically it.
Tony, I'm kind of like you. I treat Star Wars as just merchandising and pop culture, and I'm always kind of like excited for things, and then inevitably I'm let down all over again, but I don't lose any sleep over it. Like, I know there's people that love this shit.
I will say the prequels have found new life in the form of memes. I said, me and my friend, I haven't seen this one friend of mine in like 3 years, and we talk exclusively in Sam Raimi Spider-Man and Star Wars memes. Like, that's it. We just send each other Sam Raimi Spider-Man and Star Wars prequel memes. That's it. So in a way, I'm happy they exist for that. Of
course.
They're not good movies.
So yeah, I think I'm on the other side of it. I wouldn't put a date on it just because I don't think it's dead. I think we have seen some really, really bad stories in Star Wars, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've seen some really good stuff too out of the Disney era. Like the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian, I love. I think they are really fun, really interesting stories. I think Obi-Wan is frustrating, but I had some fun stuff in it. Kind of the same thing with Ahsoka. I had some fun in it. And so there is life there. It's on life support, but I can have fun with some of this stuff. Also, Star Wars Rebels, some of the animated stuff is better than some TV shows that I've seen.
Adam, is that coming up on the list? Because I really want to talk about that.
It is coming up on the list. We're trying to get through the super chats, and then
sorry.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I guess it depends on what the definition of death is in this, context. Because as long as they're popping money, as long as they're pulling in revenue from the merch, from the Disney attractions, from the video games and the movies, it's never going to die. And
also, if you get a good director, a good writer in there, you can bring anything back. I mean,
I think Star Wars will last longer than pretty much everything else. I think Star Wars will last longer than even Marvel, the MCU. I think Star Wars just has the appeal to go on forever.
They had a couple good writers and directors, and Kathleen Kennedy fired them midway through their movies. So,
Tony, this isn't a Kathleen Kennedy hate channel. If you want to be on one of those,
no, it's not a hate. I'm pointing out a bad
Tony,
I might join that
many
one.
of those, Tony. Okay, I get it. Everything's woke. Everything's terrible.
No, I wasn't saying she was really fired.
I'm joking. Yeah, I know. It seems like she maybe is not the best person to be in charge of this.
Yeah,
that's accurate.
That's a good takeaway. Panic Pun for $5. Thank you, Panic Pun. Tony's laughing. He sees something that's tickling his fancy. And by fancy, I mean his balls. Tony R., you sure you're in the Dark Knight Rises? A head that big. I should be able to see you in the stadium. Wait, I got to read that again. I'm not getting... Tony,
I'll explain.
A head... No, let me read it again, Tony. A head that big. I should be able to see. I'm not understanding the context. Let me hang on. Oh, I see it now. I didn't see it before.
So, Adam,
this has been an ongoing thing.
Adam, I'm having the Elaine from Seinfeld moment where the guy tells her that she has a big head.
Yeah, I gave you the gift. Did you appreciate that?
I did. Yeah, my friends Dick and Vito started making these jokes about my big head. And now their fan base is caught on, and now like my comments and everything are all about me. Someone actually Star Wars related. Someone did a GIF of all the characters seeing the Death Star for the first time, but it's my head instead of the Death Star. So that's like a new thing that's happening now. I have a big head, and now I'm self-conscious of it. And now that I'm losing weight, and I'm really happy about losing weight, people are like, "Your head looks even bigger now," and I'm like, "God damn it, I can't win! I can't win!"
You're like a Charms blow pop, Tony. It's wild. What's going on over there?
I have a normal size head. God damn,
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful head. It sits perfectly atop your well-framed body. The Blind Cinephile for $2. It was the extended cuts, all in theaters.
Blind Cinephile, I said $20, not $2, but okay, thank you for clarifying.
He just put the decimal in the wrong spot. and he dropped a zero. It happens. Matthew Snyder for $2. Tony, get that Funko money, baby. You got some Funko Pops going on, Tony?
No, they're making fun of my big head. That's a head joke. The Funko Pops have big head.
Love that T-Bone. Love that, Tony. Okay. Matt Guy for $2. I guess it's $2 Tuesday over here. Star Wars hasn't been good since Empire. Return of the Jedi, 6 out of 10. I'm not that low on Return of the Jedi, but yeah, I think 7.5, 8 out of 10 is where
I'd go 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think that's an honest spot to put it. Michael for $1.99. Shoot, I forgot J.R.R. Tolkien. Where does it rank?
I think Lord of the Rings is pretty high on the list.
If you're looking current, I would say at the very, very bottom.
Oh yeah,
Rings of Power is really bad.
Well, it's not even just that. If you think about it, the story's done. The story's been told. You can't fully create anything new without really hurting the old. So to me, you can't make it a modern cultural thing without hurting the original.
Well, so Luke, I guess you didn't hear my pitch earlier for a Legolas X Gimli featuring Vin Diesel.
Well, the issue is especially for Tolkien fans, they are so connected to those books. So like Tolkien was such an interesting person in general. And so if you go against his writings, go against his beliefs, they're not gonna like what you do. And so that's why I say it's hard to continue that.
Not so much The Hobbit, but the Peter Jackson like changes and stuff they made to those movies were kind of respectful. Like I understand the changes they made, even I didn't agree with all of them. The Hobbit, though, adding in the Kate from Lost, who wasn't in the book, and then
that female Legolas, we call her female. Legolas.
And then that other stupid wizard that like maybe got a mention in the book.
Radagast.
Radagast.
Brown.
And now they're putting Tom Bombadil in Rings of Power season 2, and I'm like, well, what the hell is he gonna do? Like he had one scene in the first book, and you cut it all out. You don't really need him here.
Every change in The Hobbit was perfect. Every change, every addition. Expanding like a 200-page book to 3 movies was a perfect idea. Everything was good about
great
that.
Idea. Awesome
that
idea.
Like dude that showed up in the second or third movie that dresses up as a woman and like steals a bunch of money and then runs away. Doesn't have any sort of character development. Loved that character. It was all great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The Hobbit movies are kind of like Rogue One, where I enjoy them. I think Rogue One's great. I can't tell you the name of anybody in the movies. There's like, there's Pilot Guy, and there's Blindy, the blind not Jedi dude.
Don't worry, they're all dead. It's okay.
Yeah, right. There's headphones.
Well, Adam, I think they were just pretty lame, forgettable characters. I definitely wouldn't make a show about one of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there. Perm for $5. Thank you, Perm. My first memory of Star Wars was Luke getting stuffed into the guts of a horse animal that Han saber sliced open. Yeah, the tauntaun is classic.
It's a tauntaun.
It's a tauntaun.
That's always fun.
Tauntaun.
It's an AT-AT.
You know, screw that.
Do you say AT-AT or at? Because if you say at, we're done.
Adam, I used to say at, and everyone used to correct me, so I said AT-AT. But apparently, everyone's gone back to say at, and now I look like an idiot.
No. You don't say R2D2, you say R2D2. Okay? You say everything.
I agree with you.
Okay. C3PO, not STHPO. What about Super Nintendo? Do you say SNES or SNES?
I say Super Nintendo.
I think I say NES.
Careful,
SNES.
Luke.
If I'm typing, I'll type that, but I've never said SNES out loud.
People say it. People say it. Honestly. People say it. It's a world we live in. Okay, Psycho Jet Black for $2. Thoughts on new Rey trilogy? Do they have a plan? I think it's just one movie as of now because they don't have a plan, and so they're like, let's let Rey cook. We'll see if she can bring the boys to the yard, and if she does, we'll make some more.
I think it's like they're planning this movie, and if it does well, they'll do a second one. That I don't have a lot of faith in this movie. I like Daisy Ridley. I actually do like her as an actress. I think the character of Rey, if she was given an interesting, better story, would be a better character. But for where you have left this character off, if you're willing to give her faults and willing to actually give you an interesting character, then maybe you can give me a good Rey movie. But if you're going to give me the same character from the first three that cannot have faults, that does not have anything bad happen to them, it's not going to be a good movie because people don't want to see that.
Also, I'm going to be pretty bitter if we get like all these movies about her being like a Jedi mentor and we got none of that from Luke Skywalker. They just made him like sad. And he died.
He taught Grogu for an episode in the Mandalorian, and then he made Grogu choose whether to be a Jedi or to abandon his best friend. Or
I couldn't.
I actually like those episodes, honestly.
I like the episodes, but I hated that they made Luke do that. Like that's a whole thing with the prequels that
I'm sorry, I can't get over the video game face. I'm like, that's not Luke Skywalker. This is like a weird video game. I don't like this. I don't like this.
Well, let's get to weird looking things with the Phantom Menace 1999. We'll get back to super chats, but we'll keep this moving along. Thank you guys so much. There are more. I see them. I see you. I feel you. We'll get back to you. The Phantom Menace 1999, Luke's favorite Star Wars movie. I think he said he loves it more than everything else. No. Luke, I think we're all in agreement. This isn't great.
It's fine. It's
watchable. Darth Maul saves it all.
Yeah, Darth Maul, Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon is such an interesting character with Liam Neeson. I mean, they did they did the same thing with him as whenever you brought in Obi-Wan in the original trilogy. It was a interesting actor that they brought into the world that people enjoyed, that I think gave enough like mystery that people enjoyed him.
Yeah, Qui-Gon was fine. He was always kind of flat for me. I just like Liam Neeson, so I think there was always that kind of just kinship outside of the character itself being kind of one-dimensional. Obi-Wan.
I hate Qui-Gon. I just hate, like, he does that whole thing. Why doesn't he just steal the piece he needs from Watto? Just steal the piece you need. And everyone's like, that's not the Jedi way. I'm like, but then he's like rigging the dice game at the end and he's manipulating all this other
Jedi way
stuff.
is so stupid. They always try to find some cockamamie scheme to get out of having to use their lightsaber to kill someone. So instead they're like, I'm going to throw some like alligator feed on this guy, and the alligator actually killed him, not me. It's a loophole.
Quit talking about Acolyte.
That's the new one. You got it.
But no, like in Phantom Menace, it's just like, just steal the part you need from Watto and get out of there. Instead, he hangs around with Anakin and all this stuff, and he rigs the dice game, and he's building a goddamn pod. He's doing this whole thing. It's like, you're wasting so much time.
Yeah, and Tony,
you need like 20 minutes more of a movie, though.
To your point, though, he was basically going to steal it when he tried to use the Jedi mind trick on him. Like, you're going to give me this part. And Guada's like, no, fuck you, Jedi.
He should have been like, hey, Obi-Wan, do me a favor. I gotta throw this blue thing against the wall and break its wings, and we're gonna take this piece and go home. Like He's not a good dude. He's a terrible person.
Yeah, the Jedi, that's the biggest. Well, I have a lot of issues with the prequels, just how they look, how they don't have any real connection to the original trilogy as far as tonally. But the Jedi are so stupid in these movies, and it annoys the living hell out of me. They sit around in their little boy club, and they have all these weird rules where, like, all right, we're basically priests or monks. We can't have relations with anyone. Nothing bad's gonna happen with this.
And they
scenario.
all dress like Obi-Wan because that's the Jedi that we know. And I'm like, I thought that's just what he wore because he was in a desert.
Yeah,
they all wear that.
Like, he was trying to be like low key. If that was an actual Jedi garb, then everybody'd be like, "Oh my god, there's a Jedi over here."
My theory on why they took away the relationships was just because Lucas hated Mara Jade so much that he's like, yeah, nobody has a relationship in Star Wars.
Rest in peace, Mara Jade, killed by Disney.
And then because they have
Lucas hated her too. He would have never got Mara Jade, even if Lucas had stuck around. He hated that character.
And then because they have this stupid ass plot point where the Jedis can't have relations, they're like, okay, Padawans are going to get trained when they're like 4 years old, and through adolescence, when they're the most horny as hell, we're going to say no relationships. Nope, no.
Nope, send you to the army. Go.
That's right. That works out so well, the conversion therapy on Jedis.
I mean, Yoda did have a line where he was like too old to begin the training. But I guess if you can use the Force, you need to be trained. But like, I don't think they needed to rip you from your family members.
No, they do.
You all sad.
They do. What a magical, exciting thing to be a Jedi.
I will say the tearing away from family has been newer with Disney. The idea before was the families had a choice. It was more of, hey, we notice this in your child that they have Force abilities. We want to train them to be a Jedi, and it was a choice, not really a just take them until Acolyte, and then they're like, oh, let's just forget that, and they take it.
Yeah,
but I would think like if you're a good Jedi, falling in love would be perfectly fine because you're so good with the Force, you wouldn't let it cloud your judgment. But I don't know.
Well,
apparently they thought, no, it's better to repress these emotions and let it bite us in the ass this way.
I don't like that.
Well,
the Jedi
but if you think about the idea of revenge, the idea of like, oh, you have a weakness. It's the same idea like with Spider-Man, why he wears the mask. And I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it's that idea of if you have those attachments, they can be used against you. And if they're used against you, you can turn and go dark because you're going to act on those emotions. I mean, that's what you saw with Anakin.
Spider-Man still got laid, though.
Yeah, but the problem is they don't change their names. So if you really hated Qui-Gon Jinn, you're like, I'm going to look for Sally Jinn. I'm going to murder her to make him feel bad. It's like they should probably change their names.
Well, but
goes to the Coruscant phone book. That's the guy. That's the guy.
Well, if you think about it like that, since they take them away from family and stuff, there wouldn't probably be a family connection. Yeah. Except now that Obi-Wan says he's got a brother that they never bring up ever again.
Well, that's depressing as all hell. I will say, on a positive, the Star Wars prequels have freaking amazing soundtracks. The score in those films, oh my god. Duel of the Fates is an absolute banger. I love that song.
Talking about the look of the film, at least with Phantom Menace, they were still shooting on film. They were still using miniatures and whatnot.
The puppet in the first one, and then they switched to CG.
Oh yeah, the DVD release they turned. Yeah, that was a terrible puppet. That puppet was so bad.
They had like the original janky ass one from Return to the Hobbit. They like brought him out of a cupboard.
Yeah, but like the puppet version didn't look like Yoda. The CGI version looks bad, but it looks like Yoda at least. But no, like it felt like a movie, whereas the other two, it was still really early in the digital cinematography, and they're dated horribly now.
Have y'all heard Dave Filoni explain the Duel of the Fates, what that whole the name of that even comes from?
No.
Please.
Basically, the reason why it's called Duel of the Fates is literally the idea of Anakin. It's his fate. They are dueling over Anakin's fate. If Maul wins, his fate is sealed. He will become Vader. If Qui-Gon wins, then he will actually train Anakin to be that mixture, because Qui-Gon was not just straight good Jedi. He was a mixture who was basically kind of like a gray Jedi. He was willing to bend the line, kind of skirt around stuff, because kind of like y'all were talking about earlier, how he would kind of trick things. Most Jedis would not be like Qui-Gon. And so that kind of things make the prequels more interesting when you see like, oh, even the music had a connection to this movie. And so that's why it's called Duel of the Fates.
Luke, I like what you just said, because Dave Filoni has spent 20 years trying to make sense of George Lucas's garbage writing, and he's a master at it. Like everything you just said, I guarantee you that was not the original intention. But Dave Filoni, he's a master at being like, okay, well, this was really stupid, but I got to figure out a way to make it work. I wish George didn't write this, but I'll make it work. And he's still doing it now. He's like, oh God, why didn't they give me any creative decisions? I got to make this work.
I got to work it out. Oh my God.
I don't want to be here till 1, but there is a big thing that's been circulating for like 15 years, and I don't understand it at all. And it's this whole idea of Anakin being like the main character and the chosen one. This is the dumbest shit I see online. And Luke, maybe you can explain it to me, because essentially from what I gather, there's a whole club of people that think Anakin's like the best good guy character in Star Wars, who has the greatest redemption arc of all time, and he brought balance to the Force. Whereas I see it as bona fide Hitler, who at the last second made a decent decision and didn't kill his son. Like he had one like final moment of humanity that's been tucked away deep in the orifice of his body, but this guy's been an asshole as Darth Vader, blowing up planets, killing billions of people, and we're going to be like, oh yes, this is a brilliant story.
I hesitate to call it redemption. It's more like,
no, it's not even it's not redemption.
Yeah, he's not really redeemed. He does the right thing, but like, it's like, no, you assisted in multiple genocides. You're a bad guy.
Yeah, you're not a good person.
Well, it's also, I think the reason why people give that story arc the way it is because of the Clone Wars. You watch a character that you grow up with. In the Clone Wars, they do a very great job of showing this character that you really enjoy. Anakin is very likable in the Clone Wars. He's this general. He's someone that kids can relate to, they look up to. And so watching a character that is so likable that you can love watching him as this general, this just man's man, it's just someone that people really connect to.
With a hint of darkness.
Yes,
so that's maybe the disconnect then, because I didn't watch those animated ones, and that's where they really build up his character as someone.
The animated ones have everything you want from the prequels. Like in the prequels, Obi-Wan and Anakin are not friends. I don't think they even like each other.
I remember Anakin. He was we were the best of friends. Like when
you were like
when he was 5. When
you didn't even like him when you met him, and then you were a dick to him, and he hated you. And like, but the Clone Wars, they're actually doing what you imagine they did. They're actually hanging out and going on adventures.
But how much time is that even? Because Anakin turns into Vader when he's like 18, right? He's young.
It's like the 4 years,
6 years between 4 or 5. Yeah, maybe 4 or 5. It's enough time.
He's like 14 and 15 in those.
Yeah.
Okay.
My favorite thing about the Clone Wars is because Anakin has one line in Revenge of the Sith where he mentions he's never met Grievous. Anakin, for the entire run of Clone Wars, was never allowed to interact with the main villain of the Clone Wars because of that one line.
I mean, I've heard of him in passing.
Again, that's Dave Filoni going, shit, I can't have my main good guy fight the main. Oh, fuck.
If you listen to the music in this composition I put together, it clearly states that Anakin knew of Grievous, but he ignored him. It's perfect.
But I will say, like, Clone Wars really does add that depth to Anakin that everyone really loves.
Yeah.
And so that's where the Clone Wars really does a good job. Okay. And that's why I think people connect so much. It's also because it was a long-form TV show that you could actually spend time with these characters. Sure. You don't really get that anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all fair, and I get that admiration for the character in that sense, but I still think he's a total asshole who spent like 30 years of his adult life killing a whole bunch of people, and he has no redemption at all. So yeah, the chosen one thing is still silly to me. And so is the idea of, this is the other part of these prequels that I thought was really stupid, and that was you could only have, what was it, one master and one apprentice?
That was
weird. With the Sith.
Yeah.
That was with the Sith. It's basically the idea is the whole idea is about balance. It's about this idea of the more Jedi there were, the less Force abilities they all had. So the Sith were like, well, if there's less Sith, if we kill them all and there's only 2, then those 2 are going to be more powerful than the Jedi could ever dream on their own. And so basically, it's this whole idea of balance. If there's less Sith, these Sith are going to be so much more powerful that no one's going to take them out. And so the only ones that can take these Sith out are themselves, because you have one who has the power, one who wants the power. And so that's kind of how the Sith work. And I actually do like that idea, where you've got these 2 men who are so power hungry that they want power. That's all they want. That's the whole idea for the Sith. And so if you have multiple, then they're not as strong, and so they don't have as much power. And so that's why the Sith work.
I mean, I don't know if they work, but I guess that's an explanation. That's never seen in the movies, though, either. So you have this idea.
In the prequels. And they talk about it in.
I'm sorry. Let me put it this way, Luke. We never see that like bear fruit. We never see the Emperor taking out like 50 Jedis by himself, because that would prove your point. Like, he's so strong. In fact, he almost lost to just 2 Jedi, if I remember right, because he goes up against Mace Windu. How do you say his name? Mace Windu.
Well, he takes out the whole room.
6 people before.
Yeah, he takes out the entire room.
Right, but then Mace comes in and he almost takes him out. Anakin could have helped, and it would have been game over.
Well, in that case, it was Palpatine actually manipulating Anakin.
Sure,
he could have taken out Mace. It was another manipulation tactic.
Okay,
so that's why it was shown that way. Many people believe that, you know how his face gets disfigured and everything. Most likely, his face was already disfigured. It was just he was manipulating Anakin. So that's what. That
I assume that's what it was. I thought.
Well,
that was, okay.
Well, if we consider Rise of Skywalker canon, Palpatine just doesn't know when to turn off his lightning effect. Because that's how he kills himself, right? It's like, just stop using the lightning. That's what I said in Revenge of the Sith. I'm like, why does he keep using the lightning? Turn it off.
Yeah.
Once again, the prequels actually have some thought. I'm not going to be able to defend the sequels because there's not thought.
Oh no! Really, how do I? I'm going to die. What should I do? Should I stop shooting lightning?
Hang on, Luke. I can't get over the stupid Sith thing with the Master Apprentice. I watched fucking Yoda like spinning around doing these Cirque du Soleil flips everywhere, and he was going up against the Emperor, I would say, pretty well. I mean, he didn't lose by any means. He chickened out because that was a terrible plot point as well. But I didn't think the Emperor was going to easily take out Yoda. And Yoda's just one Jedi. So, like, logically speaking, he should have been able to KO him pretty quick.
Well, when you look at like even like Anakin or Vader, you never think when you see Vader as a weak character. You always see him as someone who is super powerful. It's also, let's be honest, the reason why they did the 2 is because the originals only had 2, and they had to make a reasoning for why there was only 2.
And now you got there. That's where I wanted you to get, and you got there. Because everything in the prequels is strung by what the OG did, and that's why George Lucas had the least elegant way possible to get the Jedi into hiding at the end of the 3rd movie. It makes no sense. They're barely on, like, they are not being pushed back. Yoda's
but at
like,
least he gave a reason. The sequels don't even give a reason.
Oh, well, yeah, we'll get to the shit show of the sequels. Yeah, I'm not defending the sequels, but like,
Yoda loses one fight. He's the strongest Jedi ever. He loses one fight, and he's like, "Well, I got to go into exile." It's like, why don't you help us, you asshole?
Not even that, Tony. Not only does he not really lose the fight, he like is getting pushed back a little. He also knows that Anakin's dead. They think. Because Obi-Wan won that fight. So really, it's just all the Jedi versus the Emperor. And they're like, no, this one's over. Let's call it. We're all going into hiding. It's over. We'll see. We'll see what happens in like 50 years.
There's too many Boba Fetts. We can't beat all the Boba Fetts. All the CGI Boba Fetts that look terrible.
Even though they get rid of all those by the original.
Yeah.
Okay, so Darth Maul's awesome. The pod racing's really cool.
Darth Maul sucks. He had the high ground and he died. Obi-Wan learned that when you have the high ground, don't make sparkles and dance.
Oh my god. Okay. Jesus Christ. I could talk about these prequels
sorry.
forever.
I'll stop.
Good screenwriting foreshadows things, right?
Mhm.
This trilogy does the opposite. In the first movie, we establish that having the high ground gets you nothing because Darth Maul launches up and cuts that dumbass in half.
No,
He's like,
Obi-Wan
"Oh,
cuts Darth Maul in half.
right." In the third movie, we do the opposite. Oh, I have the high ground. There's absolutely no way for you to win. And he does the jump attack and he gets sliced in half.
Well,
So
it's
he
because
does the opposite.
Obi-Wan learned. He's like, well, when that guy had the high ground, he was making sparkles and dancing. How about I don't do that and I actually defend myself?
He's doing a Fortnite dance at the
Yeah,
top.
remember he was making sparks to scare Obi-Wan. Like, what are you doing? Force push him.
How do you
Shoot
like
him.
now.
Well, luckily he held all his guts in and became
You know
a
what? To
spider.
be fair, Darth Maul didn't even die. So
Yep.
Yeah, he got
died.
spider legs, so that's fine.
Spider legs made a comeback.
Yep.
Okay, Attack of the Clones. I think we can all agree is pretty terrible.
It's fine.
That was the
whatever.
first
Except for
one.
the midriff.
Yeah.
I fell asleep in it.
Uh-oh.
That
Did
was
I
the
lose
first one
audio?
when I was watching it. I still liked it, but that was the first Star Wars movie when I was a kid where I'm like, I'm not in love with this.
That's the first movie I fell asleep during the movie. I've never fallen asleep in a movie, and I fell asleep in that one.
Did I lose
the
audio?
wedding scene's so boring.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Can you hear us?
Hello?
Hello?
It might have switched
Hello?
whatever his audio was
Oh,
to something else.
that's not good. You can still hear me, right?
I don't think he can hear either of us.
Okay. Well, you can hear me though, right?
I can hear you. I think something on his end
I
must
can't
have.
hear you two, so you guys keep talking and I'll just figure out my issue.
Yeah. hold
Okay.
on.
Attack of the Clones. It's fine. It's kind of a boring movie.
Yeah.
The fight with all the Jedi in it is interesting. I do like that fight.
No, I liked the fight before that. Before they had to rely on lightsabers, they actually had to
I'm gonna
try
try dipping myself from the stage and return.
Okay.
Okay.
It's our
Well, that
channel
works.
now, Luke.
Nice.
Um,
Burn it down.
Can you hear us,
Can you hear
Adam?
us now?
I guess not.
Can you hear us?
I liked when they had to fight the monsters without the use of lightsabers. That was a lot of fun. And then the Jedi come and give them extra lightsabers, and it just immediately takes all like the thrill out of it. I'm like, oh. I'm like, I was actually really enjoying that scene.
But when you look at it, like, especially as a kid, seeing all these dudes with swords, like light up swords.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing I will say. Lucas did such a good job of making something where the Jedi were cool, and you just wanted to be one, and that's kind of where he was coming.
Oh, when I was a kid,
at
yeah,
it.
I was like, yeah.
Okay. But that's the point. I think that's why the sequels are not going to do the same thing as the prequels or the originals. Is you don't have the coolness. You don't have that like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's where,
Kylo Ren was kind of cool, but he did some cool stuff.
Well, the bad part is when you go watch Force Awakens, even though I actually do like that movie.
So do I.
He has so many temper tantrums that he doesn't become cool in that movie.
Well, I kind of like that because he is like a Darth Vader fanboy. So it was kind of making fun of Star Wars fans, but I'm actually fine when fans get made fun of. I'm a fan of things. And I know,
but it's also, I look at it as future fans, as like just the Star Wars in general. They need to make stuff where people are going to, want to dress up as them, that are going to find them cool, that they're going to, inspire to be like, in a way. Merchandising.
I thought he looked cool when the hood was up. When he took the hood down, the tiny Darth Vader samurai helmet just looked weird. I'm like, no, put your hood back on. That looks weird.
Yeah, the hood works better, much better. But that's where I will say Lucas was a genius when it comes to marketing and merchandising. Like merchandising, actually, I think merchandising makes people connect to movies and franchises better. And I don't think any franchise actually does that well anymore at all.
Well, some movies. Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay.
Good.
I had to just quit out of the browser and come back in. It was weird.
Okay.
I don't know.
That works.
Sounds like I missed some probably riveting conversation.
Oh, we're all the way up to Rise of Skywalker now. We did all the TV show.
That's awesome. I have to get back to, okay, where are we at in the discussion?
We were talking about
Attack of the Clones, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Were you disappointed when you found out the clones were all Boba Fett's and that the stormtroopers were Boba Fett's? Because I was real disappointed at that as a kid. I was like, wait,
bizarre.
What?
That was really bizarre.
I'm like, I thought the clones were like monsters or something. Because like the problem is like in the original one, it's like, okay, I care about the rebels. They're against this crazy force and they look like humans. But in the Clone Wars, like, oh, we have 1 million copies of the same guy. And their heads are on digital bodies, and they're gonna fight an army full of digital cartoon robots. And I'm like, I don't care about anyone on either side of this war. I'm like, I feel nothing for either of these.
Because you're just gonna make more.
They're just gonna make more Boba Fetts.
Unreal. Yeah. Now I'm hearing my video is lagging, so that's just wonderful. God, I love South Carolina internet.
It's your audio's good though. Your audio is coming in pretty fluid. That's more important.
Yeah, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. Connection is unstable. If you're on Wi-Fi, try plugging it in. I am land up. I am plugged into the wall. I pay for the expensive internet. I hate this place.
Oh, so do I. And my internet goes out all the time. I
have great internet, but I'm from Tennessee, so.
Brag about it.
I guess. All right, we're going to be speed running now through this. Clone Wars is not good, but I like the midriff on Padme.
Attack of the Clones, not Clone Wars.
Whatever. Who cares anymore? It's all over. Okay, 2003, the Clone Wars comes out. Animated show. I didn't watch it. I heard it's fantastic.
It's really good. It's not in canon anymore, but they used a lot.
No, it's still in canon.
It is.
I thought. Wait, the anime. Oh, the
2D animated one, the Samurai Jack looking one. But they used a lot of that. They used a lot of that for the CG one. A lot of those ideas. No, the 2D animated one's really cool. They're really short to get through. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can get them done like 30 minutes.
That's right, the 2D one. I did see some of that actually, because that's by the guy that did Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
That was
really good. Yeah.
Okay, Revenge of the Sith. A lot of people put this in their top 3. There's a bunch of people that put this in their number 1. I get it. It's got a lot of pageantry. It has really epic music. It's the darkest of pretty much any Star Wars thing ever. I have a lot of issues with it. Mainly the writing is terrible. I don't know. The way that it ends, where again we already talked about it, so I'm not gonna go over it again. But just how they kind of transitioned from this film into A New Hope really did not play well.
Yeah, they cut out some interesting stuff too, like the formation of the rebellion with like Mon Mothma. All that's cut out of the movie. I'm like, I feel like that was kind of important because it's such a big deal in the next 3 movies. Maybe we should have left some of that in. I hate Anakin's like, I just really miss my mom and I had a dream and I want to bring people back to life. It's like, okay.
I think for me, it is my second favorite. But don't get me wrong, the writing's really bad. The acting is pretty bad in some points. I think it really is more the idea of it. I think the idea of this guy who, and Clone Wars really does help it. I mean, it really does. But watching this character that you end up falling in love with through the Clone Wars, this character who falls to the dark side, who you understand somewhat why he ends up the way he is, especially if you watch the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But I think it works for me. I enjoy that one because also when it came out, it was PG-13. And I remember I was hanging out with some friends and I was 13 at the time. And I was like, oh my goodness, the first PG-13 Star Wars movie. It was the very first one. It was the first one with like really like was a lot darker. And so we'd never really seen that. And so as a kid, you're like, oh, something exciting, something darker. And so I think that's why I really resonate with that movie because of the age that it came out. It was the perfect age for me.
Yeah, I can see that. I loved it. Like I said, I loved it when it came out. I loved all these, except for Attack of the Clones, although I ended up liking it a few years later. Revenge of the Sith I really, really love, but now I just keep seeing all the faults. For all the cool action stuff they have, they still have the scenes where it's 2 people walking and talking or sitting. And guys, what's your favorite Padme scene? Is it when she sits on the couch or when she sits on the couch? I like when she sits on the couch. There is that one scene where they were very brave and they had her standing on a balcony. I thought that was real risky.
And Obi-Wan at one point gets pinned under cement, and his legs are perfectly fine afterwards. Because it's such a cartoon. He's like, and he just drops a fucking like stairwell on top of Obi-Wan. He's like, I'm okay. I'm all right. Silly stuff.
Yeah, Grievous was weird. I will say, these prequels have such amazing actors, and they all act like pieces of wood, and they're terrible. So Palpatine, like the actor playing Palpatine, just having a good time and emoting and being over the top, it's so entertaining because you have like people like Samuel Jackson, and they're just doing this. Oh no, there's a Sith Lord. I guess we'll check it out.
Yeah,
it's like, God, can we cut to a Palpatine scene again?
Or is it Plumber?
Maybe Acolyte makes more sense.
Who's the guy that he's the White Wizard in Lord of the Rings?
Christopher Lee. Christopher
Lee, yeah. R.I.P. Christopher Lee. He's in both of these franchises, and yeah, he's so boring in Star Wars.
Yep.
I know, it's kind of fun when he gets his head cut off.
That's true. Not a lot of acting from him there. It's just his head decapitated.
Anakin was trying to get ahead in life. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm going to read some more super chats because just who knows what's going to happen with my internet at this point. I'm going to have to call them up and yell at them again. It's so much fun. Where did we leave off yet? We got the Greetings Trio. I think we're on the Flute Wizard. What's the name? Greetings Trio for $5. Thank you, Flute. Longtime fan. 2 films you definitely don't want to see remade, rebooted. Mine are Princess Bride, Back to the Future. Well, you took mine. Mine is absolutely Back to the Future. I don't like reboots unless you have an interesting take and can do something new, or the original wasn't great and you're going to take another stab at it. Otherwise, there's no reason. But yeah, Back to the Future, it's a fantastic trilogy. A lot of these actors are unfortunately on their way out, so it just seems like a really bad taste to kind of redo them anytime soon.
They already remade the 2 movies I didn't want remade, so I've already lost. Halloween and Roadhouse. They did it. I wish they didn't. I'm ashamed of them, and I'll never forgive them.
And they have a sequel for Roadhouse coming out, Tony. Another Roadhouse.
I ended up not hating Roadhouse as much as I thought it would, but the action was terrible, and the third act sucked.
And it
I gotta go with
called Roadhouse either.
Exactly.
I gotta go with A New Hope. And
they already remade that. It's called Awakens.
That's kind of. Oh man, it's anything else? I mean, oh man, I am struggling on this one.
Anything from Marvel, Iron Man, or they got Blade?
No,
coming
because
out,
you know they're gonna.
Blade.
Because comics get rebooted all the time, so I'm more prepared for that.
Yeah. I mean,
like
my problem is they reboot
or something that's basically perfect, like a Shawshank.
Okay, like 2001: A Space Odyssey. I would never want that remade.
The
Shining.
I don't.
They already remade that. They made the TV version. That's closer to the book.
I don't count that.
Yeah. Well, what else? Oh, man, I'm struggling.
Like the shot-for-shot Psycho remake with Vince Vaughn.
Oh God.
Man, I can't get a second one right now.
I'll let you simmer on it, Luke. You can come back to it if you want. Mr. Flickster for $5. Thank you, Flickster. Star Wars has fallen from grace, but it will never be as bad as Rebel Moon. Oh God, Rebel Moon is atrocious.
Still haven't
seen
it.
I didn't make it through the first. I couldn't make it through the first.
It's so bad.
I messed up and watched Dune, and then went and watched Rebel Moon, and it makes it so much worse. It's so bad. It's so bad.
I'm waiting for the super director's cuts, and that's how I'm going to go into them.
3 hours, baby. 3 hours each.
Yeah.
All in.
I haven't liked the
different movies, we're told.
300. Yeah.
We're told they're fully different movies because, that makes sense.
Oof. Psycho Jet Black for $2. Bigger head, Tony Peluso or Jabba the Hutt?
Tony.
Luke's already in. Luke's already into it.
Luke, I thought we were going to be friends.
No, Luke,
I thought we were going to be friends.
I won't answer that.
Luke, I was going to be real nice
of a person to answer honestly.
I was going to be real nice to you because I see that plaque behind you, but now I'm not.
Man.
I'm enemies, actually. I'm turning my channel into a Galaxy Geeks hit piece channel.
That's right. At least Tony has a neck. Jabba doesn't even have a damn neck.
He doesn't.
Matthew Snyder, $2. The slow death of Star Wars started in 1997.
That was the beginning of it.
It's all been downhill since A New Hope, says Matthew. Thank you, Matthew, for $2. I appreciate that. Perm from the top rope for 10. Thank you, Perm. Is a lightsaber scientifically possible? The answer is no. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it would be scientifically possible, especially
you tell me.
Yeah, just I'm an actual engineer, and also like we did the science on it once, and you can do it. I mean, you wouldn't be able to see the laser.
Technology, but should we do it? Is the question.
No, we shouldn't do it, but you would be able to do a laser, but you wouldn't be able to see it like a lightsaber is seen. But you can do it.
Okay, I'm gonna say no to all of it.
I feel like it wouldn't
also have a science degree in bullshit.
Okay,
Matthew Snyder for $2. Thank you, Matthew. The Jedi and the Sith are Force gatekeepers. They are. They are. Well, the witches are, they have their own thing. They don't call it the Force, but there's other things.
That thread, though.
That's not the first time they've done that, but we're getting to it.
Perm, $5. Thank you, Perm, again. Mark Hamill's best work is the Joker. Loved him in the video games. I agree.
I agree with that.
Fantastic. As the Joker.
No love for the character he played in The Guyver who turns into a big grasshopper?
I don't. Okay. I can't with Tony's deep cuts. Tony, you'd be very proud to know.
Yeah.
The family. All four of us are going through X-Files right now, watching it like it's the first time again. I've actually been how many filler episodes there are in the X-Files.
I've been rewatching X-Files too, on and off. Yeah. Same with Millennium. I'm going through Millennium again. Make sure to stop after season 7. Stop after season 7.
Is that the one where Scully's alien baby throws like a object across the room?
Season 7 literally ends with her saying she's pregnant, and just pretend the show ended there. Don't go any further.
I think she has like an alien hybrid baby or something, and they like give it up for adoption, and it's just never mentioned again on the show.
It came back in the very last season, the revival they did. He's back. He's an 18-year-old now.
Hey, Mom and Dad.
Spoiler, Mulder wasn't the father. I hope you guys really enjoyed all those episodes dedicated to it.
Oh, God. I can't. Yeah, it's been a wild ride, I'll say that much. We just watched the one where their throats get big and then like a gross, I don't even know, a pole comes out of it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, CP's $1.99. Thank you, CP. Are you going out to see Shelby Oaks? That's the Chris Stuckman film, fan-funded film that's been in production for I think several years now. I'll watch.
Know nothing about it.
I'll watch it when it's available to watch. I don't think it's in theaters, right? If it is, it's very, very limited release, and I definitely don't have it at Regal.
It's going to have its premiere in July 2024. That's all I see here.
If it plays at the Regal, I'll definitely check it out. I have no thoughts on it at all. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's hot trash. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'll review it honestly. Either way. Ryan Powell for $2. What Star Wars character would you like to date? Asked Ryan.
Padme.
Oh God.
Okay, so I don't really know anything about her character, but I watched the first episode of Andor, and the hot girl from Morbius and the Hitman is in it. I date her. I don't know anything about her, but that's the hottest that I can think of right now.
Okay.
Does that count?
I'd probably go with the alien dancer chick at Jabba's place.
No.
Show. She's got she's got like the jester hat.
Slice noodles? No, fuck slice noodle. Okay. I'm skipping ahead. Clone Wars, they have Jabba's flamboyant cousin, and he was my favorite character, Zero the Hutt. And then you learn that Slice Noodles killed him, and it's ruined Return of the Jedi for me. Every time I see her, I'm like, oh God, I hate her so much for killing Jabba's really fun cousin. God, I hate her.
I just feel like she'd be pretty wild. I think that we'd have some adventures together. That's the only reason. But yeah, Padme is the real answer. Padme 100%. It's Natalie Portman. I've celebrated her entire catalog. Let's see. Okay, I think that's it for super chats. Now we'll go over the final ones at the end here. So get them in now or forever hold your peace. Yes, we have the Clone Wars we talked about. So then we have Rebels, which is basically the continuation of Clone Wars.
Great. It's a excellent show.
I love Rebels is the best. I think it's the first thing they did, but Disney, it's the best thing that they've done. It balances everything I love about Star Wars. It has some prequel shit in there because of Clone Wars, but like they made Darth Maul interesting. He's never been interesting until this show. A little bit in Clone Wars, but the spider legs threw me off. But it was just a really, really well done show. It introduces new things to the Force without being like annoying. Like they introduced time travel, but it's like
but it works. It really works.
Yeah,
I love how they handled it.
And it's a super complicated thing, so you can't just do it easily. It's not like a Jedi can be like, oh, I'm gonna go time travel now. Like I just really loved it. It fired on all cylinders for me.
Nice.
Also, it really handles the hero's journey really well. You have a very diverse characters, like you have men, females that you really fall in love with. That show is just done so well. Ahsoka, I think, is handled best in that show over anything we've seen her in. I think I have a lot of hope for maybe Ahsoka season 2 because of Rebels, because of how much I love Rebels.
It was nice to have James Earl Jones actually do the voice, where now he's just AI stitched together.
There's some scenes that are you, Adam? Are you ever planning to watch this show?
I would actually like to watch it, but you can spoil whatever. It's fine.
Okay. There is a fight between Ahsoka and Vader, which is so wonderful. And there's also a fight with Obi-Wan and Maul, which to me is the shortest, best fight in Star Wars. Because of how much thought is gone into the stances of each character. Like how they stand with their lightsaber is so deep. And it really connects to the Phantom Menace on how Maul killed Qui-Gon. It really connects directly to that. It's such a very well done.
And they have like a good moment together because Darth Maul Darth Maul also hates the Emperor. He's on a revenge mission. He really wants to kill the Emperor. It's just a beautifully done show. I think it worked. I don't know why some people don't like it. And they have like some really deep cuts, like what's his name? Zeb, the big monster looking dude. That is Chewbacca's original design. They're like, oh, let's go back and use that original design and make a new character out of him. And I hear that he was in season 3 of Mandalorian, but I'll never watch it. So
he popped
so
up
bad.
It wasn't really much, but it really is. I love what they do with Rebels. That's why I hope Dave Filoni can do better. I'm hoping that maybe he can go back to his roots of Rebels. We'll see.
Well, they should have just let him be in charge of everything. Like early on, the fact that they didn't give him control early on was stupid.
Well,
he knew what
I wouldn't say. I don't know. He needed some training. He still needs training.
Maybe for films, but he could have come up with ideas. But hey, this is what people would like to see. But Rebels I highly support. That's why I can't go full on like Disney sucks. I'm like, well, no, they gave me like my favorite Star Wars thing
in, right?
Like forever. So
well, believe it or not, Tony, that was almost 10 years ago. That was 10 years ago. That was in 2014.
Wow.
Disney's owned Star Wars for 10 years already.
Yeah.
That makes
me 2015 was the real beginning with The Force Awakens. $2 billion globally. Star Wars is back. Everybody loves it. I will say a lot of people loved it. I really liked it. I thought, I mean, there was plenty online hate going, it's just it's a New Hope ripoff. And in a lot of ways it absolutely is a New Hope ripoff. I think there was so many people that were so butthurt like myself and Tony about the prequels that we just wanted a reset. And if that means kind of just getting back to the basics, building up a new set of characters, a new hero's journey, following the playbook, but doing it so damn well. Yeah, I'm cool with that. We'll do the new stuff in the next movies.
Yeah.
Well, I think JJ was the perfect choice for this movie, specifically because of the mystery box.
Yeah.
If there had been a plan, this would have been a really good start for the sequel trilogy.
And
it really is.
They got Kasdan to come back and write it. The guy who wrote Empire and Return of the Jedi. He agreed to do it so him and his son could write that terrible Solo movie. So you have a little bit of the original writing in there. So it works. It is a lot like A New Hope, but if I spent $4 billion on a franchise, I'd want to play it safe for my first outing.
Yes.
I think they sorry. Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say they played it safe, but also I think they ended up shooting themselves in the foot in the long run. Just because of the audience they went after. Lucas always went for a younger audience. Disney, when they came back, focused on the older audience. So when they came back and played it safe, they made a movie for the older fans, which works. But in the long run, that's not going to create a franchise. That's going to just continue what you already have. You're not going to get a new audience. And so now they're trying to
because Disney wanted the most money they could get. So you go after the grandparents who will go out and see it, and the parents that will take their kids. And if you start with the prequels more or do something new, there's a chance that you're not going to pull in some of those older legacy fans. It was the smartest move they could definitely have made. I didn't actually know that Rogue One came out before Last Jedi. So Rogue One came out in 2016. They had a new Star Wars movie every single year for 4 years or 5 years. But they had like a new Star Wars thing just straight up for like 7 or 8 years straight. There was a new Star Wars something or another. Rogue One, I really enjoy that movie.
I love that movie so much.
But it's
I think it's boring and sucks.
It is boring. The first half is boring and the characters are pretty dull. But I like that movie the same way I like The Creator, which is the same director. The man knows how to shoot a beautiful looking film.
He does.
And he knows how to absolutely utilize a smaller budget and wow the hell out of you. And I thought that second act and that third, leading into the third act especially, was just firing on every cylinder possible. Yes, it's a slow movie to get there, but once it hits hard. And of course,
the fact that they killed off all the characters, to me, that's such a it's such a good move. It was such a good movie. I love that movie so much.
Yeah, and I feel like this new Disney wouldn't have done that today if they made the same movie. If they made Rogue One today, they probably would have had him go into hiding or something so that they could use them in a spin-off Disney Plus movie down the road. Like, they made it off the planet, and now we're going to run into this.
Not right now. 2 years ago, you're right. During the Chapek era, I don't think that's going to be the same thing in the next couple of years. I really think you're about to see a change.
No, I hate all the characters. They're boring. They're not memorable. And that's my problem.
The robot's great. I don't know his name, but he's great.
I like him in other movies, that voice actor, but not in this.
Is that Alan Tudyk?
Alan Tudyk, yeah. Remember when they wasted him in Aladdin? Anyway, we talked about this on the 2023 wrap up we did. Gareth Edwards, he's not really good with human characters, as we've seen in Monsters, Godzilla. I think Rogue One. It wasn't until The Creator I'm like, well, he actually learned how to make an interesting character and make them not boring on screen. I just can't get into Rogue One. I tried. I thought Tarkin, who for some reason was not in the prequels, even though he should have been a really big part of the prequels. He's in Clone Wars though. I thought it was cool at first when they were showing his reflection, and then they got confident, and it's like, oh wow, I'm looking at a fucking Buzz Lightyear next to a human being. This looks so bad. The only character I liked was Blue Admiral Akbar, and he died.
Blind guy was cool. I forget that actor's name, but he's
Donnie Yen.
Yeah.
Donnie Yen's great in
awesome,
other movies.
He was good in Rogue One. He had an interesting story, and he had some cool moments.
There were AT-ATs, and that was that and Blue Admiral Akbar were the only things I liked.
There were there was a lot of nostalgic moments in that film.
Remember when Darth Vader was a ninja, and then if you followed up with A New Hope, it makes no sense.
Kind of like how Yoda was a ninja also. And
same. I have a problem with both. Sorry that you guys liked it and I shit on it. I'm really sorry.
Listen, I have no problem with you shitting on that movie. I just I like it for superficial reasons, the same way I like Prometheus. It's so stupidly written, and most of the characters are unlikable idiots. But visually gorgeous, and I'm on board with some of the story, like some of the pieces I think work really well.
Adam, every time you say you like Prometheus, it just kills me a little bit more.
I know. That's why I bring it up.
I just want you to know it kills me a little
That's
bit.
why I bring it up every time. I've seen Prometheus probably 3 or 4 times, Tony.
I can tell you're holding off so hard not talking about the next movie. I can tell you don't want to talk about the next movie.
Oh, I've talked about this movie so much that I've basically died and be reborn again. The Last Jedi, 2017, everyone's favorite film. You know, there was a discourse, I'm old enough to remember, there was a discourse online where they said, mark my words, The Last Jedi will be The Empire Strikes Back for a different generation. Because when The Empire Strikes Back came out, critics chat all over it, and people didn't like it when it came out. And I'm just rewriting history because I'm a fucking nerd on the internet, and I have no, consequences for what I say. Last Jedi sucks. It sucked when it came out. It sucks today. It hasn't gotten better. It's gotten worse. It shattered everything as far as I'm concerned. Any goodwill built up by Force Awakens was thrown out the door. Rian Johnson decided to make his own fun movie that was completely different, and it shattered a trilogy that clearly did not have a beginning, middle, and end.
Also, when you end The Last Jedi, you do not have any story left to tell for the third movie. There's no story. They took away the story.
It's the same story, Luke. It's the story that you ended with in the first one, except for now there's less people to be mad about. There's only Rey against Kylo. There's no Snoke. There's no and JJ knew that. He's like, oh fuck, I don't have an emperor anymore. I have no big bad. It's just Anakin, or I'm sorry, it's just Kylo and Rey.
I liked the ideas in it.
Slow moving space chase where they run.
No, not that one. I actually didn't mind some of the Luke stuff. I wouldn't have done that if I wanted to have a movie that kids would like and buy toys for. But it was interesting. The whole Luke, Kylo, Rey stuff is kind of interesting for me. I like how the Force became a little trippy again with like the weird visions and communicating. I like stuff like that. But yeah, overall, it was just like, wow, you wanted this movie to make money, right? Why would you split up like Poe should have died in the first movie? They rewrote the movie on the fly to bring Poe back. Yeah. It's like, well, people like their chemistry. Obviously, you're going to have Finn and Poe on an adventure. They're like, no, Finn's going to be with new lady. And now he likes this lady and not Rey. And it's like, oh, that's a terrible idea.
Remember the one interesting new concept we brought to A Force Awakens where Finn is a washed out stormtrooper who's gone rogue?
Yeah.
That one idea
that we all want to be a Jedi.
That we could have built upon really, really well. I mean, you could have done a flashback to start up The Last Jedi where he's ripped from his home and he's like put through the Empire training camps, and it could have been pretty amazing. But instead, now he's going to go on a love triangle story with Rey and not Rey and Rose Tico.
Well, I think the issue for sure for this movie that it takes me out, but it also becomes this really bad lesson that I think a lot of movies have done in the past few years. And I think this one is, you can tell what type of movie fan you are by how you like this movie, because it really is the beginning, in my mind, of the deconstruction of fandoms, where it's truly the first movie where they are deconstructing what are the Jedi, what is the Force. It's this idea of taking what you love in the past and showing that it really wasn't as good as you thought it was. And let's rebuild it to make it better in our eyes, but to crap on what you used to love and basically rebuilding it through deconstruction. You've seen that in multiple franchises.
Yeah,
I've seen it and I've seen it done well. I like what Scream 5 did. I thought that was like a fun way to do it because it still felt like a Scream movie, but this stopped feeling like a Star Wars movie, really. And then when it tried to feel like a Star Wars, it's just like, no, I don't really care about this space battle at the end with the Millennium Falcon because he's just kind of been shitting on me for not me specifically. Yeah. I stopped caring about Star Wars way before that movie started. But I could see other people being upset. Also,
that's where I agree with you, Tony, where you and I have been, we're not like hardcore Star Wars fans. We'll watch them. They might win us over. Cool. I take them separately as stories. Like, is it good? Is it bad? Whatever. Luke has never in his life once indicated that he would ever turn his back to the Jedi and become like this hermit who, for some reason, leaves a mysterious map behind so that people won't go looking for him. Like, that was all just completely bullshit.
That was the weird thing.
It did not work.
There to die. Why
didn't work?
Yeah.
People compared it to Logan, saying, "Well, you didn't have a problem when Logan became this like bitter blah blah blah." But it's like, yeah, that's his character.
It made sense to the character,
right?
Yeah.
He's always been an asshole, and he's always been down on himself, and he never felt like he belonged anywhere. It makes sense. This to a new generation would be like if they waited 15 years in between Harry Potter. They come back with Daniel Radcliffe being like 60 years old, and he's just an asshole and hates the wizards.
And by the way,
it's time for the wizarding world to die. Like, what?
Everyone has been, apparently that stupid Willow show did the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Willow's bitter.
Well, Willow was just bad in general. There is a reason that show's not even on Disney Plus anymore.
You can't put all the character development off camera and then have us be like, oh, that's great writing. No, you skipped over the point where he turned out that way. It doesn't make sense.
I never ever want to hear Luke Skywalker say the word name Palpatine. It's like, no, it should just be Emperor. He should only know him as Emperor. Like, I don't want to hear. I hate when original trilogy people say prequel shit. It really, like Darth Vader saying Padme. I wanted to like punch the screen. Even when I like the movie, I'm like, no, that sounds weird coming out of James Earl Jones. I don't like it. But yeah, I didn't hate Last Jedi. I was like, all right, well, it did something interesting. I guess it didn't work for me. But people
when I first watched it, when I first watched, I kind of liked it because I was trying to connect it to Empire Strikes Back. And then as I sat on it longer and longer, I hate it more and more.
Yeah,
because it's a well-made movie. It's the best made movie.
I think it's the prettiest Star Wars movie. Actually, I think it's beautiful.
And also of the sequels, it's the only one that has something to say. The other two do not have anything to say. The first one is literally all set up. It's a remake of A New Hope. The third one is all trying to fix whatever happened in the second one. The second one was the only one that actually had something to say. I'm not saying I liked what it said, but it's the only one that had something.
Yeah, and I think that's another problem is I don't need Star Wars to have anything to say. In fact, I prefer it doesn't. These started out as kind of serial, campy nonsense, and that's kind of where I like Star Wars.
Well, I mean, the other ones did, but it was because it was just good versus evil. Right. That was what it had to say.
It was simple.
You don't. Once you deconstruct that, you no longer have that, especially for the third movie. That it just didn't feel good. I
hated. God damn it! I just lost it. I had it in my head and I totally lost.
There's so much hate, Tony. Let
There's
it flow.
So much hate.
We'll get back to it. You like Sonic Casino Planet? I assume.
Oh yeah, Casino Planet was terrible. Speaking of Finn, I really would have just preferred if Finn and I was about to call her Rico, Rose Tico, just went to the ship right away and he used his stormtrooper knowledge to get in. The fact that they had to go to the stupid casino world. Oh, that's what I hated. I hated that they were like the good guys and bad guys buy their weapons from the same people. Like, look, I get that
the stuttering guy.
Yeah. I'm like, I get that that's a thing that happens in real life. I get that storyline can work, but in the world of Star Wars, I feel like the Emperor, the Empire or whatever, the bad guys or either side would just kill whoever's making the weapons and be like, you're not allowed to sell to them or we'll kill you. We know where you make your weapons. So that was stupid. I hated that it was in a casino and all the casino people were evil. I don't know why they picked that.
I always joke about they had to do this like side story where they saved the alien horses. And
the side stories are the worst.
But it's so funny because I joked about, I'm like, I love that they saved the alien horses, but not the slave kids. They kept them behind.
Yeah, that's right.
Like I love that they saved the horses, but they left the slave children behind. Again, and then the horses. What was the end game there? They just ran to an edge of a cliff.
They're gonna catch them later.
Yeah, they probably caught them later.
They're not getting anywhere.
They're not wild horses. I will say, like, again, the B plots were terrible. Poe's B plot sucked. Finn's B plot sucked. Yeah. The main story, there's something there that I like. I kind of like the ending where I love that Padme, that Rey was not related to anyone because I was real sick of that in Star Wars. So I'm like, I actually like that twist because that it makes me feel like the original where anyone could be a Jedi. I like that Kylo killed the bad guy because we haven't seen like a Sith betray another one. Well, the older one does. We haven't seen the apprentice kill the master yet. I'm like, oh, cool. He's just going to be the main bad guy. That'll be fun.
I love that scene. That's the only scene in the movie I like is the Red Room scene. And I know people shit on it for choreography.
Oh, I love the
missing
scene.
dagger or some nonsense. It's like, bitch, have you watched the OG Star Wars? Obi-Wan's like, let me do a spin. This is pod racing. But come on, we can do a little bit of.
And then like two things I really liked. And I like the thing with the kid at the end. I know some people are like, no, I like the idea that there's other Force users unrelated to the Skywalkers out there.
That was a Skywalker. That was a Skywalker boy.
And then the next movie completely undoes the only two things I liked in this stupid movie. I'm like, that's great. Awesome. That's awesome.
He even had Luke Skywalker like grab the saber when she throws it in the fire, and he's like, "How dare you throw a lightsaber into the fire?"
They cut out Rey's third lesson. It's actually an important deleted scene where he pretends there's an attack on the village, and she goes running to save them, and it ends up being a party. He's like, "No, the lesson I want to teach you is like, we don't need Jedi or anything. We just need good people who are willing to act." I'm like, well, that's a good scene. We didn't need the 5-minute long steamer that's steaming uniforms. We didn't need that scene. We didn't need BB-8 shooting coins. You couldn't have trimmed out any of that other fucking garbage for a serious scene.
I do like that Luke barely even says anything about Han Solo dying, and I don't even think he says hi to Chewbacca when he comes in.
They cut out out him mourning. They cut out him mourning Han Solo. They cut that scene too, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
We kept the iron shot in though. We kept that in.
Oh my God.
And evil BB-8. We got evil BB-8 for the merchandise. For the merchandise. And Captain Phasma. Captain Phasma's back, baby.
Well, I thought that was going to be a fun. I thought that was going to be a fun thing where it's like the cigarette smoking man where they'll always survive their death. But no, back. That's apparently the end of Phasma. I'm like, oh,
see you in the next movie.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. She was too busy with Game of Thrones.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Did you know her uniform is made out of Emperor Palpatine's spaceship? That's apparently from
please tell me that's true.
No, that's from some expanded lore thing.
That's what they said. Jesus Christ. Remember in the third movie where we're at now? Oh, actually, I'm sorry. No, we got a couple in between. My God. Yeah, let's go faster. All right. Solo, a Star Wars story, 2018. Tony loves it. We know it.
Nope.
So are you by yourself? What was your name again? You're alone? So you're what? Solo? People talk like this in the real world, right? You're solo? Yeah, that's my name.
They had those. Why did Kathleen Kennedy keep firing talented people? Because she had Lord and Miller, who were very talented. They did the
Lego movie.
Yeah, they created the Lego movie franchise. They brought back 21 Jump Street. They were like really hitting it. Yeah. And then she fired them for Ron Howard. And then they ended up producing the Spider-Man cartoon.
This honestly, I would love to understand why Kathleen Kennedy makes a lot of the decisions she makes, especially around this, because they don't really make sense.
No.
Because it's not like they have a plan or they're trying to. It's not like with Feige. It makes sense because he has an idea of this is where we're going.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy doesn't have that. So why does she keep getting rid of people? It doesn't really make sense.
This has always bothered me because she screwed, Gareth Edwards brought Godzilla back, big franchise. She screwed with the end of his movie, forced a bunch of reshoots. Lord and Miller make all these franchises. She fires them. Colin Trevorrow brings back Jurassic Park, billions of dollars. She fires him. Rian Johnson, she gave him full control of everything. What, Looper? Looper wasn't that good, lady. All his other movies
overrated.
I'm like, and none of his other movies justified this big franchise. Why did you give him so much control and all these guaranteed hits you fired? What the hell's wrong with you?
I'm glad he's doing Knives Out movies. That's where he should live.
Those are okay.
He's good. Those
are
fine.
The second one's not good.
The second one's fine.
It was all right. Not as good as the first. I'll give you that.
No.
Yeah.
All right, Solo's not very good.
Oh, I hate L337. That is the worst Star Wars character. I hate everything about it. She now makes all our heroes look like slave owners by implying that all droids are slaves.
Doesn't
also have a thing for
hit on her
Lando.
At some point?
Yeah.
I think they had a thing.
I said at the time, I'm like, when Rise of Skywalker was coming out, I'm like, I swear to God, if the real Lando, Billy D. Williams, obviously, if he plugs into the computer and I hear that stupid robot's voice talking to the real Lando, I'm leaving the theater. Thank God that didn't happen. Thank God.
That's what you were meaning about plugging in. Okay, never mind.
In the Kennedy cuts of Star Wars, they're going to add the voice of her into the Millennium Falcon.
Ugh, God, that movie sucked.
Okay, 2018 Resistance. Is this another cartoon?
I didn't watch
yes, it's I tried. It's very kiddish. It's a very kiddish show. It's
is
fine.
that the like almost quasi cell shaded?
Yeah.
2D? That looks
yeah,
terrible.
It's in the sequel
It's not good.
timeline, but yeah, I didn't bother with it.
No one really watches it. It's just not. It's just not good.
Some
It's
Pop
just
Patrol
not good.
bullshit. All right, 2019. I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say it's not. It's about like a 7 to 8 year old style of a show. More less. I mean, it's not like super kiddish, but it's not like Rebels.
Gotcha. The Mandalorian 2019. I
Love it.
I loved The Mandalorian. I thought it was a great throwback to old school Star Wars. You had a cute little baby Yoda thing. Obviously, it's not Yoda. The name they gave it was awful. Grogu.
I actually like Grogu.
No, you
it's
don't.
just weird.
No, you don't like it. It's terrible.
I don't know.
Did you guys watch American Dad ever?
Yeah, not the last like 5-6 seasons, but yeah, the early seasons I watched.
One of the season they introduce Roger has like a Grogu of his own. It's this disgusting looking monster alien. Yeah, it has a name just like Grogu. I can't remember what it is, but that was pretty funny.
Here's what I'll say.
Here we go.
I thought I was getting a bounty hunting show, and I got a babysitting show. And it lost me in the first episode.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
I thought every episode was like, hey, Mandalorian, you got to take down the Salacious Scrum. He survived. And that blue guy also survived they owe us money. You got to take him out. Instead, he's like, I hope this baby doesn't get hurt by this rhino. Oh no, it lifted up the rhino. And I was oh, fuck this show. This sucks.
No, it's cute. It's for families, Tony. It brought everybody together. We all loved it.
Nope, it's garbage.
I miss those days. I miss those days so much.
I do too.
I was ahead of the curve. I was ahead of the curve knowing where it was going.
Go watch your cartoon Clone Wars show and leave the adults.
Yeah, it was really good. It gave me what I wanted.
I was trying to use your argument against you about cartoons being for children.
No.
I guess it's animated or it's like CG. Maybe that doesn't count. You know, it does count. 2019's The Rise of Skywalker. Some say the best Star Wars movie. Full stop.
No one said.
I'll watch it over Last Jedi.
I agree. I actually like it a lot more than Last Jedi too because I'm so disappointed that at this point anything that's just at least moving quickly and at least has a bunch of action, I'm okay with that.
It's a fun journey. It's just a bunch of
bullshit.
They just go to places. Yeah, they'll go to this place. Oh, I need this to go to this place, and I need this to go to this place. It's like
it's a fetch quest constantly.
I will say it's technically the worst Star Wars movie ever, but it's fun to make fun of. I have a lot of fun making fun of it because everything about the movie is wrong and terrible.
Somehow, Palpatine returned,
but in a funny way. It's like, wow, they were really desperate. They thought bringing back Palpatine was a good idea.
I called Tony. I called it when I did I think it was my solo review because I made fun of how Darth Maul randomly shows up at the end of that movie,
which makes no sense if you watch Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah, if you watch Clone Wars, you understand exactly what's going on.
No, but I feel like at that point he wouldn't be doing that at that point in time.
They would have. He was over the crime syndicate at that point.
Oh, I thought that had fizzled out by then. Anyway,
no. The crime syndicate goes for a few years even.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess
which would have been an interesting story if they'd actually done it.
Yeah.
So I said in that solo review, nothing matters. Darth Maul's just like Humpty Dumpty back. They'll probably bring fucking Palpatine back and put him in a hover wheelchair or something. They basically did that.
The thing is, that could have worked if they'd actually actually gave story reasons.
Yeah, right.
Because they did it in the Heir to the Empire, which was
the original continuity. Yeah.
So
you can explain away a lot as long as you put any effort into it, which they didn't.
Oh no, they threw out a couple theories and then didn't land on any of them. Clone, force magic, who knows?
Yeah.
Well, the clone idea works because that was the whole idea for the prequel trilogy. So it works, but they didn't, make a good movie.
Also, why did he make Snoke? The only thing I wanted to learn
they don't have a reason.
The only thing I wanted to learn was how did Snoke make a new empire and corrupt a Force school at the same time? And I got no answers on any of that.
All behind the scenes, because it's not like he technically was an emperor, because we don't know.
Yeah.
We have no idea what was going on in the universe at that point.
And then there's like a secret Sith world with a bunch of red stormtroopers and all their ships have Death Star lasers. God, the movie was so stupid. Remember when a billion spaceships showed up at the end because Luke Skywalker?
They all had the Death Star weapon on it because they had to use Death Star again because
technology's advanced quite a bit over in Dark World where they
rode horses on the Star Destroyer and no one thought to just turn the Star Destroyer.
I also like how there's who are the people that were watching this fight between Rey and Palpatine? These like just people. There was like an audience in a coliseum of mysterious figures just watching.
They were Sith worshippers.
Sure.
We still don't know who the right Knights of Ren are either.
Yeah, but I thought they were just members of the school that he took with it. But I don't know what Ren is.
I don't think so.
I don't know why.
What about C-3PO's red arm? That they don't even address at all. He just has a red arm.
I just think that that was to make new toys, but I think that was just a funny thing. Yeah,
they did that in a comic. They actually explained. They explained why they did it in a comic. It was so stupid.
There's quite a story behind this, Master Luke.
Yeah. Finn's storyline about something he has to tell Rey that he never does. Also, I love they sidelined his girlfriend character and they gave him a new girlfriend 15 minutes before the movie's done. A different stormtrooper that left. I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we introducing characters at the end of the movie?
Oh yeah, they had Lando's back. Lando's in this one.
I was fine with Lando coming back because it's just like, okay, he's back. Might as well.
Still doing it.
The Death Star, I feel bad because my friend Yoshi Vu, who was just on my Tekken episode, he actually did the visual effects for the Death Star, the sunken Death Star.
Yeah.
And they look great. I'm just mad that there was pieces of the Death Star. That was stupid.
Because there shouldn't have been?
Yeah. There shouldn't have been. He did great work on it, though.
Let's rapid fire get through the trash.
Yeah.
So we have The Bad Batch.
I didn't watch it.
I've watched some of it. It's not bad. I gotta watch the last season. I've heard it's pretty good.
I also didn't watch
Disney Plus crap.
Yeah, I didn't watch the additional season of Clone Wars they did. I never got around to that.
Oh, it's really good. Excellent.
Yeah, I want to check it out.
Book of Boba Fett was horrible.
I got something. I got something to say
the
about
Mandalorian episodes that they wedged into a different show. Go ahead, Tony.
I have something to say about it. I thought I was getting a bounty hunting show.
He's in a fucking tank.
Instead, I got a friendly crime boss and also a little bit of babysitting show. They screwed me both times.
Where Boba Fett doing this? Boba Fett's at like a day spa half of the episodes. He's in his little tank simmering his chili. He's like a glorified turkey of a person. He's basting in these juices trying to get better.
Why is this so hard?
It's terrible.
Bounty hunter, go there, kill that guy or bring him back.
All of these shows
should be every episode.
All of these shows start with a dude and they end with a female taking over the franchise. This one had that female bounty hunter who was way cooler than Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I don't even know her name. Who cares? And then Finnick,
yeah.
Sure. And then Mandalorian does the same thing with the third season. It's what's her name from Battlestar Galactica? Katie Sackhoff.
Oh yeah, which doesn't make sense because like she's in the Clone Wars with Obi-Wan. It's like, well, why did Obi-Wan age 100 years and 19 years, but Katie Sackhoff, like, was she frozen?
Because she was Mandalorian.
Do they age slower?
Yeah,
that's what they're gonna say.
Sure, of course.
Because I'm like, she looks nothing like Alec Guinness's age. She should be older than him at this point.
Well,
anybody watch Visions 2021?
That anime one.
It's good.
There's a series of different animators.
First season was good. Yeah, I liked it. It was weird. It was different. They were short, but it was fun to watch. They were interesting.
2021 had The Bad Batch, which is another spin-off of Clone Wars, I think.
Yep, season 2. It was good. I mean, it was fine. I mean, I need to finish the last season.
2022's Obi-Wan Kenobi was embarrassingly bad.
That was really bad.
That was so bad. That was so disappointing. That was
I've never liked
scene. Oof.
Guy, Ewan McGregor, he's the worst Obi-Wan Kenobi, and people get mad at me when I say that. And it's like,
no,
no,
he's fine. I like him.
I like him as Obi-Wan.
Alec Guinness is the best Obi-Wan Kenobi because he is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
The best? I thought you said he's good though. I like both.
But Ewan McGregor's just doing
you.
a bad impression, and I thought with a new director and everything, we'd finally get a good performance out of him. And I still got nothing.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't even mad. I was disappointed.
He seemed checked out in Obi-Wan.
My favorite is the girl's plan to get revenge on the Jedi dying is to join the bad guys, kill a bunch of Jedi to get close enough to Darth Vader to bomb him on the head. That was her master. And then she goes, well, you know what? I'll go kill his son instead. I'm like, this is a terrible villain. What are we doing here?
Too easy.
She was really just going to bomb him on the head. What the fuck was that plan?
I blacked out and forgot most of that show. Andor 2022, critically lauded. 2022 Andor.
I need to rewatch it. For some reason I didn't like it, but everyone seemed to love it, but I just was bored.
Adam,
I think
today
people are overhyping it. I watched 3 episodes and bounced.
Yeah, Adam, today I swore I wasn't going to watch any of these shows ever again after Obi-Wan, but for you, I watched the pilot episodes of the next 3 live action things, and I started with Andor, which again, everyone said was the best Star Wars thing ever. And I said, how can that be possible? He was such a boring character. And I watched the first episode and I went, this show is not good. Maybe it gets good, but that first episode was such a slog that I'm like you, Adam, like, all right, that girl's hot, but I just saw her in a different movie. I'm done. I'm not watching more of this. I'm out.
I believe they released wisely 2 or 3 episodes right away of Andor because they knew it is a very slow burn to get going. And I will say, I think it was the 3rd episode really did pay off the first 2 and it was solid. I just didn't care to keep going through it because it was such a slog. I shouldn't have to watch such a meandering show.
I think it was like 3 episode story arcs that they were doing.
Okay.
And so they released the first 3 as a story arc. And so that's why they released the first 3.
Yeah. Maybe it's good, but I could not get into it at all.
Yeah. I'm not knocking it. I think that it probably is a pretty solid show. I just didn't want to put the time into it when I kind of know what's happening with this guy anyways. He's going to die in Rogue One. So what are we really going to do at the end of the day with this character?
I'm going to give it another shot. I'm going to try to anyway.
Tales of the Jedi. Never heard of it.
It's good. I liked it.
I'm going to go back and watch it because I watched Tales of the Empire. The first 3 episodes sucked, but the next 3 episodes were okay. But I hear Tales of the Jedi is better, so I might go back.
Tales of the Jedi is good. Tales of the Empire is awful.
It was at least the episodes are 8 minutes long. They're blissfully short. That's the best thing I could say about it.
It's just that Tales of the Empire is focusing on 2 characters that no one cares about.
I agree.
That was 2020. That was this year that came out.
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
But you also have Young Jedi Adventures. That's another kids one, right?
I think
that's preschool. Yeah, it's like preschool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the only other 2 we have here are Ahsoka from 2023, which Tony, you've seen more of that than me, which is 1 episode.
Yes. Okay. I feel like this is cheating because it just feels like a 5th season of Rebels. But I watched the first episode today, and I actually enjoyed it. Dave Filoni is directing it, and he knows what he's doing, and he's continuing his story. You're
gonna love this. You're gonna really like the show. The last episode doesn't feel like a season finale. It feels like a penultimate. They needed they end it too soon. They ended like they needed another episode.
Okay. So far I'm liking it. I like seeing the live action versions of I like that Clancy Brown does the live action version of his character. I like seeing the late Ray Stevens. He's grouped in with that boring girl from Mandalorian season 2, who's also in Tales of the Empire, who I could care less about. I'm gonna be sad watching him because he was a great actor and he sadly died. It's got my girl Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who I don't watch everything she's in. She's in a lot of terrible things. She doesn't feel like the character from the show, but I wonder if
she doesn't.
Okay, yeah, that was the one that felt off.
She doesn't have that motherly charm that Hera's supposed to have.
Yeah, I like that she's in it. I like her. I prefer to see her not green with penises on her head. But other than that, I like her. But no, this one I'm actually I think I might continue watching.
I would.
This.
Okay.
If you're also, you get some connections back to Clone Wars. You get some really cool scenes.
Real
with
quick,
Anakin.
do they end up babysitting anything?
No.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. Okay.
There's a baby Darth Maul type character that they go around with. I mean, that would be adorable. That would be adorable. A little baby Maul.
Sabine, you could say babysitting Sabine, but
that's different. That's different. That's different.
All right. So the last thing I think we've made it is the Acolyte.
No, we didn't. We didn't get anywhere. It didn't happen. It's not here. Never happened. Doesn't exist.
It's all kind of culminated to this crescendo, which is the Acolyte, everybody's favorite, getting no hate online. We've all come together again as fans.
So everything's been spoiled for me, but I only watched the first episode. And again, I know people are getting angry. I guess I haven't gotten to the real bad stuff, but I know what it is. But that first episode, again, I'm just like, wow, it's another really boring fucking Star Wars thing with characters that I don't care about.
And that was the best episode. The first one is the best episode of the show.
Oh, good. So I should stop watching. Okay.
Unless you're in it for lightsabers only, then episode 5.
No,
I would say episode 5's the best, even though I'm frustrated the entire episode.
Also, can we call it the bad guy? As soon as I saw the bad guy, I'm like, that's going to be a woman. Like, it's just like Hollywood loves doing that recently. Oh, am I wrong?
No, it is. It's going to be a woman.
I think it is because Black Widow did the same thing with Taskmaster, and I'm like, oh, it's 100% going to be a girl.
I know where you're going. I'm not talking about him. I think that
he's talking about him.
Tony, you're wrong on the villain they've shown.
The bad guy with the helmet.
No, I know what you're talking about.
No.
Adam.
Oh, I thought that was going to turn out to be a lady.
No,
it's gonna be a woman, and we know who it is already because they did a terrible alluding to her in this episode. It was the most on the nose thing ever. But he's like, I know someone that could do this sort of ability with the Force. Like, okay, I'm not gonna spoil it, but I can see the writing on the wall.
The writing has been so predictable in the show. It's not funny. It's getting to the point where it's like, what y'all said this was a mystery, and y'all tell us the mystery every episode. Like, there is no mystery in the show.
I want to say they had a really good opportunity for like a really funny scene, and they didn't take it. In the beginning, when all the prisoners get on that escape pod, and they're like, fuck you, lady. I thought it'd be really funny if like the escape pod went out and just hit a meteorite. I was like waiting for that to happen, and then it didn't. And then they're just arrested.
At least the scene would mean more.
That was such a weird scene too, because there's that like face hugger on the guy, and that was just nothing.
Oh, yeah, there was a weird tongue dude.
Yeah, the whole thing was a weird. Yeah, and, Tony, did you like that the opening fight with Trinity? And I love that they killed off the best character in the show instantly. Did you like that there was a short order cook just working there still during the fight? Who had his kid with, and they didn't leave?
I think it was his bar. I think he said it's his bar.
Yeah, I don't care. Obviously, it's his bar. He's gonna go down with the
It's such a frustrating show. It's to me, the bad part is what I hate about it is because it's become so divisive, and I'm like, it's just not a good written show. Outside of the lore stuff, outside of everything else, it's like, why is this the show that everyone is dying on the hill over? I'm like, it's just a mess show. Like, why is this such a war?
Yeah, I think it's all just kind of come to a head with this one, and people have been getting annoyed for years now. And they're going to take it out on this because it's supposedly geared towards an older audience, the promise of a darker storyline. And again, it's Disney-fied, and it's really.
But it's yes and no. It's supposed to actually, I think they're trying to get a new audience. They keep trying to hit that younger millennial or Gen Z. Yeah. And it's like, Gen Z doesn't like this stuff. They're not being attracted to it.
Yeah.
My daughter doesn't give a shit about Star Wars anymore. She actually didn't finish The Last Jedi because she was so annoyed with it.
I see people pretending to like it just because some of the things in it. I'm like, you can't actually really like this, right? I feel like some people are just pretending to like it to battle the trolls who are complaining about it. And both sides annoy me. I'm like, now, guys, it's just kind of boring. I don't think you should be defending or shitting on it as much as you are.
Just like, it's just such a weird.
At the end of the day, I think it's not difficult to do this stuff, but Disney is its own worst enemies, and they have all these writers that think that they're smarter than they need to be. Look at Illumination. They make the dumbest shit movies. They all make a ridiculous amount of money. Why? Because they're simple and they have mass appeal.
Yeah.
Well,
all Disney has to do is make simple mass appeal Star Wars that have good versus evil, and that's it. That's all you need. But they continue to be their own worst enemies with this stuff, and I don't understand why.
My hope is, and this is where I'm actually having some hope. My biggest hope is from Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 is a excellent movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's the first movie that Iger announces when he returns. It's the first project that we have seen under his reign when he comes back. And so I'm thinking where I'm leaning is, I think you're about to see a change across the board on all Disney products. Because there was a difference.
I appreciate your faith in Bob Iger, but I think it's a little.
Well, I think I don't have faith in him. I have faith in the fact they need money.
Yeah.
Oh, they do. But if you look at the slate of Disney stuff, it's the most depressing lineup ever. It's all remakes and all sequels. There's not an original thing in the book as far as it's Toy Story.
Well, that
5,
I heard
Moana 2, Moana live action, Frozen 3. There is nothing original coming out.
This has been a problem with them for years. I heard apparently Disney used to make a shit ton of money through ESPN, and then years ago that well started to run dry. I guess with the internet and shit. I don't know. So that's when they started like buying more franchises and doing more of their own remakes and stuff. I want to say, Adam, I almost got you good. Everyone was making fun of that actor for accidentally saying Anakin blew up the Death Star. They were ripping him apart, which I thought was just an honest mistake. Like but I really wanted to do a supercut of our Alien commentary track where you kept mixing up actors' names. He did it like 15 times in our Alien commentary. He would name an actor in a movie. I'm like, no, Adam, that's a different actor.
This is why I hate doing live streams just in general, because I have to edit myself so much when I film a review. Like, people wouldn't believe how stupid I am with names. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I thought Austin Butler was in. I'm sorry. I thought one of the Skarsgårds was in Dune 2, and it was Austin Butler. And in my review, I said like, whoever plays Pennywise, which Skarsgård is that? Bill? I said, I think it's Bill. I said Bill Skarsgård like 4 times in that Dune 2 review, and thankfully, before I hit publish, I was talking to my buddy on the phone. I'm like, yeah, I thought Bill Skarsgård did great in Dune 2. He's like, who did he play? I don't remember him being in it. And I'm describing it. He's like, Austin Butler? I'm like, oh, fuck. I got some editing to do. I'll call you later.
Oh, that's so funny.
I did that recently. I got the name of a wrestler wrong, but I obviously dubbed it. I said Scott Steiner when I met Rick Steiner. So in the video, I'm like, yeah, and then Chucky was talking to Rick Steiner. Like, I made it real obvious.
Rick Steiner. Yeah.
And then while it was airing, people were like, wow, that was seamless. I'm like, yep, I didn't make a mistake. I knew his name.
Yeah. As always, we went really tight on that 1 hour, Luke. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I understand if you never want to do this again.
No, I had fun. It was fun.
I mean, we can all agree, though, that fire in space killed Star Wars, right? It was the only time we've ever seen a fire in space.
Okay. If y'all want to have a season review of it, I will come back for it for sure.
We will. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm sure we'll do a wrap up video, and you are welcome to come back. Luke, I assume you need to go. You don't want to stick around for more super chats. You are welcome to.
I have work in the morning.
And Tony, if you want to bail too, you can. I'm just going to.
No, I'm in it for the long haul.
You're in it for the long haul. Okay, Luke, where can they find you? Do your little pitch, and then you can go.
Check us out. Look up Galaxy Geeks. We do movie reactions. I'm going to try and get into reviews a little bit more. We do out of theater reactions as soon as we get out of movies. I'll try and do a season review for Acolyte once it fully is done, maybe, unless I throw the TV against the wall. I don't know. But go check us out. It's me and my wife. We do content all the time. We release a different movie every week. This week we were doing Despicable Me 3. And then we just got done reacting to X-Men Origins Wolverine. So that will be releasing next week.
I got that on the slate real soon for my channel. I just subscribed with both my channels, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Nice. It's a movie. It's rough. I struggled hard.
It's not a movie. It's a disaster.
It's not a disaster. It's an experience. It's an out of body experience.
Try watching Despicable Me 3, and then the next day doing X-Men Origins. It's not fun.
It's a roller coaster of emotion.
Just bad emotions.
I appreciate
thank
you
y'all for
coming
having me
on
on.
and reaching out, and hopefully we'll chat again soon.
It was nice meeting you.
Nice seeing you too. All right, see ya.
Okay, let's look at some super chats here.
Yeah.
Tony, since you're sticking around, I can't shake you. I can't quit you. Where do we get?
I wish I knew how to quit you.
I can't quit you.
That's from Brokeback Mountain.
It is. I still haven't seen that movie. Did I? Okay, Psycho Jet Black for $2. Will Star Wars join the Marvel Comics canon and MCU?
No, I don't think so. However, one thing we did miss, I don't know what they're like now, but the first few years when Marvel started doing Star Wars comics again, when Disney bought it, some of those comics are really good. The Darth Vader comics are really good. There's an evil C-3PO and evil R2-D2 with Darth Vader, and they're fucking hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna disagree with you, kind of. I think they might dip their toe in like a Elseworlds animated show where Star Wars could team up,
like
and
a what?
Like a what if. But then I think they're gonna see the numbers and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, people love this," and then they might dangerously veer into a series or a movie. We're talking maybe 10 years down the road, but I could see that happening.
What am I talking about? Like freaking whatchamacallit? Warner Brothers and DC do that all the time. They just had the Justice League fight Godzilla and Kong. So yeah, they might do that with Marvel.
I could totally see it happening.
It'll be a self-contained thing, not in the universe. Yeah, but yeah.
Okay, we got Perm for $5. Thank you, Perm. Sorry, one more dad joke. Don't apologize. Don't ever apologize. Why did Star Wars episodes 4 through 6 come out before 1 through 3? In charge of directing, Yoda was.
Look, I know
I didn't want to screw it up. But I think it worked. Okay.
I know talking backwards is like Yoda's thing, but in episode 2, when he went around the survivors, a perimeter create, I wanted to be like, God. Yoda, could you just fucking not? You're 900 years old. You know how he talks. Shut up.
Have you ever seen the bad lip reading things from back in the day?
Maybe once.
Do yourself a flavor and watch the bad lip singing of Yoda. It's called Seagulls. It's the funniest freaking song ever. I got it in my head all the time. It lives rent free in my head. Okay, Dark Room Reviews for $149 just throws a super sticker out. Thank you, Dark Room Reviews. He must do reviews. Go sub over there.
In a dark room, developing film probably.
Or it could be ironic. Maybe it's like the brightest room ever. And then another 99-cent super sticker. So double subscribe to him, which would unsubscribe you from him. Psycho Jet Black for $2. Thank you. Tony, who's cuter? Adam? Oh, Geek Luke's not here anymore. Adam or Galaxy Geek Luke? Damn it, he's not here for you to say Adam is cuter. That sucks.
I guess I'll go.
Good question. Great question. Hey, shut up. Psycho Jet Black, $5. Thank you, Psycho Jet Black. Remember when the Game of Thrones guys were supposed to make they're just the Game of Thrones guys. We're supposed to make a Star Wars movie. Also, will they ever reboot Star Wars by remaking A New Hope? Tony, do you know the fun trivia behind that?
I do actually, because I've been talking to a Game of Thrones fan. I never got into Game of Thrones, but I always bring up that fact because I love seeing Game of Thrones fans miserable. Because I tried to watch that show. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I'm not really into it. Everyone's like, you're an idiot. It's great. And then everyone bitched about the last few seasons. I'm like, all right.
I think it's worth watching, but you keep your expectations.
They apparently rushed it because they thought they were making a Star Wars movie, and then it didn't happen.
They thought they were making a trilogy, so they just basically tanked their own baby.
Kathleen Kennedy was going to give Rian Johnson his own self-contained trilogy.
It all fell apart.
Did they hook up? What the fuck was going on there? Did he flirt with her? What's going on?
The Force is female, Tony.
Oh God.
Force is female. Girls.
Yeah, even though men mostly buy the merchandise, I'm glad they're trying to focus all their attention on women. That's great. That'll help out in the end.
I've seen a lot of these companies think outside the bun, I guess. And it doesn't seem to be working well. It turns out that the male demographic is really nerdy and into this kind of shit.
That's the thing. Like, don't exclude women. Like, I'm not saying that. But like, you should know that men are going to be your target audience. They're going to be the ones actually buying this shit and getting invested. Yeah.
Whether it's, maybe it could be just culturally bred into us because of years of social marketing. Women were targeted for makeup and things like that. Maybe it's something that's bred in more. And it's hard to know, but they're trying to reinvent the wheel and it's not going that well.
The phrase is called "rewrite the wheel," by the way.
That's
Like
right.
there are exceptions, like Johanna on my show. She probably now owns more Star Wars stuff than I do, but she's like the exception to the rule.
Of course, yeah, but I bet the split is not 50-50. I bet.
Yeah, well, we can tell every time I go to Five Below and see a wall of Rose Tico unsold toys on clearance. I think we know how this is going. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Will Psychojet Black $2? Will villain for the new trilogy be a Rey clone? Oh God.
No, I don't know why they would, because Rey was kind of made by Palpatine's. By the way, I don't like the fact that Palpatine was having sex apparently, like post death. That seems weird to me.
I like that they were in a lab, like with Bunsen burners and potions, making different clones to try to make a Palpatine or something. Remember they had all
but then
like,
he just had like
fetuses.
But he had like a normal son in that flashback. I'm like, I don't like that. Who fucked Palpatine? I mean, good for him, but I don't like thinking about it.
Listen, we talked about this. This is why the Jedis are so dumb. You can't make it so that guys aren't going to want to get laid. All right. Even Palpatine, crusty ass, nasty Palpatine.
Realistically, Palpatine should have like 5,000 kids, because I know what happens with evil dictators. They like to get around.
They like to get around.
So it is weird that there's only one Palpatine offspring. I'm like, no, there should be a lot more.
I think Elon Musk has like 12 kids now. You see that?
Yeah.
Wild. They're all like named numbers and shit.
Yeah.
Ryan Powell for $5. I want to see the series finale of Young Jedi Adventures where Anakin kills all those.
That would be the best ending. They're like,
oh wait, hang on. America's hero, the chosen one, Anakin, who slaughtered a bunch of Padawans in a room. Yeah, I'm rooting for him. He's the
last shot is just that kid going, Master Anakin, what are we gonna do?
Get over that shit. Yeah. Annie's here. Oh my God. They kind of went back into that in Obi-Wan, remember?
Yeah.
They had more of that scene.
Yeah. And they had to put a disclaimer on it because like a week before something terrible happened. I'm like, I would have pushed this a month out. I don't know.
There was a school lightsabering. So
apparently.
They had to, Perm for $5. I'm mostly disappointed with the way they killed off Han Solo. He also had the coolest quote in the franchise saying, I know, which of course was ad-libbed. Listen, if I didn't know Harrison Ford so badly wanted to be killed off in this franchise from the get-go, I would be a little bit more upset, but I think it's just kind of funny that it was probably a stipulation for him to even return. He's like, I better die in this movie or I'm not going to be in it. And
then he came back for that terrible dream sequence.
Did that remind you? You know what it reminded me of, Tony? It reminded me of the scene in, was it BVS or one of them?
Maybe. Same writer, by the way. Same writer.
Pa Kent comes back and he's like tossing bricks for some reason.
What is it? Chris Terrio? Same exact writer did that stupid Ghost Dad scene twice.
There's a
Rise of Skywalker, Batman v Superman.
Oh my God, of course. Have you seen are you watching The Boys at all, the new season?
No, I've never watched The Boys.
There's a trope that it's doing right now that I've seen in a million different shows and I fucking hate it and it never makes sense at all. And it's the trope of talking to a ghost person in the room. No one does that.
Oh yeah,
why is that? The Dexter thing where he talks to like his dead dad.
Well, I'm thinking of Scrubs where he's talking.
They do it in so many things
because it doesn't make sense because it's like, but that person's just insane and should get help if they think they're seeing people and talking to them. Unless it's a real ghost,
right? It's dumb, and they're having like full conversations, and I can't get over how ridiculous it is as a premise overall. And the last one here is from is it Shanley? Shanley 88 for $4. Thank you. Andy Serkis and Stellan Skarsgård are good in Andor.
I like that Andy Serkis, after being disappointing as Snoke, they apparently were like, you could play a different guy and actually show your face, but I didn't
even know he was Snoke.
Yeah, he was Snoke.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's a Tony fun fact I was not aware of. Thank you.
You didn't know that? That's why everyone thought it was like a cool thing at first, because he's so good at motion capture and everyone loved him. And then he did Snoke, and that got him, I'm sure that got him the job directing Venom 2. But then they were like, you know what, Andy Serkis, let's bring you back in Star Wars, but we'll be able to see you this time.
I thought that was Bill Skarsgård who was.
Everyone is Bill Skarsgård now.
I just see. Is Bill Skarsgård in the room with you right now, Adam? I talked to him. He's my ghost friend. Bill, should I end the stream now?
Who are you talking to, Adam?
No one. I'm talking to my friend. Huh? Oh, maybe I'm insane. Maybe I'm insane. They do that in the Joker. They did it in I mean, he was insane.
Well, he was insane.
To be fair, he was insane. That movie was just a rip-off.
And they do it in The Dark Knight Rises, but to be fair, Bruce Wayne just had his spine punched back in, so Liam Neeson was probably a figment of his imagination.
No, that was just a lame reason to get Ra's al Ghul back in there. That's
but like
I can't stand. It's like,
but he's not insane for the rest of the movie. They picked the perfect time for him to hallucinate by having his spine punched back in.
True.
If he had been driving and saw Ra's al Ghul, then that would have been a problem.
Ra's al Ghul, they have like a buddy road trip. Ra's al Ghul's like, don't turn there.
Whoa.
Are you aiming for these people? He's Samuel L. Jackson from Die Hard 3. I think that's it. I think we caught up on super chats.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I didn't miss anyone. I apologize if I did.
Yeah.
But this was fun. Thank you again to Luke for joining us. He's not here, but he's here in spirit.
Yeah.
Right there. He's over here, actually. Tony, always fun. You can do your thing, I guess. You can pitch a spiel or whatever you want to do.
Hack the Movies on YouTube and now Rumble, because after my Godzilla podcast got kicked off YouTube, I was like, oh no, I have to come up with backup plans. So Godzilla versus the Pod Monster and Hack the Movies are now on Rumble. Nothing's changing with YouTube on Hack the Movies end unless I get another email saying your channel's deleted for no reason. So check me out there. Patreon.com/hackthemovies is fun. Me and Adam have a couple comments. It's on both of our Patreons, our commentary tracks.
It is.
Buy some merch at the Retroware store for Hack the Movies. I will be at VHS Fest at Mahoning Drive-In next month. It's going to be really, really fun. 3 days of VHS stuff and movies on the big screen. So yeah, and book me on Cameo, cameo.com/Tony Peluso.
Beautiful, Tony. I got two more that came in at the end. We'll do these and then we'll sign off. Cody Bishop for $4.99. Red Letter Media. I love Red Letter Media. Just dropped an amazing video on the topic of this show and the battle of political ideologies on both sides.
I have to. I don't watch a lot of Red Letter Media these days, just because I can't watch their new videos because I don't want to be like influenced. But because of that, I just keep forgetting to check. I used to love Best of the Worst. Those are the ones I can watch.
Those are fun.
Because I probably, if I review those movies, it's just going to be on Patreon. But yeah, I haven't had time to like sit and like binge their stuff. I feel bad because I actually really like those guys.
I don't watch them either anymore, but I watched a lot of their shit for many years, and they're great. Really
when this became like a bigger full-time thing for me, I had to watch. Honestly, you're one of the only movie channels I watch these days. Adam,
thank you, Tony. A tear. I appreciate that. Well, Cody, I appreciate that. I'll have to try to find time to check that out. I do typically when I watch YouTube, just set the phone down while I'm doing the dishes or whatever else I do around the house. King Cold for $5. The boys are back in town. Welcome back, guys. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. The final chat of the night. I think it was a perfect one. And with that, I guess we'll take our leave. I will have a spoiler breakdown of the Acolyte episode 5 tomorrow. Hopefully, I mean today. We're way past midnight. Cinderella's going to turn into a pumpkin here real soon. I know it's the carriage. It's okay. I understand that. I understand Cinderella doesn't turn into a fucking pumpkin.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time, so I probably would have believed you.
She doesn't. Nothing really. Her dress gets tattered again. Anyway, let's let you go. I will have that. I will have a review for Quiet Place Prequel. Comes out this week. Nobody knows, but it does. It comes out. This week.
I know. Every movie I see has the advertisement. Oh, does your theater have the big cardboard display that looks like you're going into the subway?
I don't think so. Regal's barely. I mean, Regal's basically made out of cardboard at this point. They're going to be bankrupt.
My AMC still goes all in on the big cardboard displays, but then they're there for they still have Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire there. They were building
Afterlife.
They were building the face hugger for the new Alien one. It's like a giant face with a face hugger on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, and then I will be on Tony's live stream. I mean, I'm hoping to be this Thursday. I think
300th episode.
300th episode. And that will be a fun wrap up of everything that came out in June or last month?
Most things that came out in
It's
June.
a fun wrap up of like a bunch of weird shit I've never heard of mixed with a couple movies that were mainstream, and it's always a good time. Check that out, and we will see you soon. Take care.